arguing really loud.
Hat right away.
And we're live again with the 4th episode of the Kappa Council. Here on Metagamingtv, with me today we have JoyfulRogue, who's not showing up because
What do you mean I'm not showing up?
the overlay is totally fucked up. At least SnowToad is where he should be.
SnowToad, what happened to your hair?
He shaved it because he was gonna be on the show. He's like, I don't want to be the only guy with hair.
Him and extremes, I just cut it off.
Him and the old one had a sexy bald party. It's spreading. Maybe next week I'll be bald.
No. Well, nobody
It's
would know
spreading. It's spreading.
That would be really funny if we just had like a bald episode.
A bald episode.
Like that'd be
Yeah.
great. Like
Episode.
all of us would have to do it.
Well, after the episode, how do you expect it to not follow with the next one?
Well, then it will slowly be growing out, won't it? Like,
That's long-term thinking.
that's a long term. That's awesome. Okay, let's see if we can get this, get you people back into the overlay.
If you could even cut off the door, now that would be even cooler.
Cut off what?
The door of my picture.
Nah, not gonna do that.
I can't remove it from reality, but
You can unhinge it, can't you? Just like go there and.
I would just paint it over
It's just on personal Narnia.
blue.
Oh, you should paint the door green, and you can, you know, green screen it. Just the door.
Just the door. And then put my one side of my arm on the stream with green screen.
Maybe, or you could paint the door and everything behind you there green. That could work. Just the whole wall.
Yeah. You have a green screen.
A green wall.
Perfect. Yeah.
There we go. Alright, so, I mean, we can start with Joyful doing his presentation thing.
Oh, my presentation
which,
thing.
Which obviously isn't about him being a Faeria streamer anymore. We need to
so
change
bad.
that.
No, I'm not. I'm an XCOM streamer, by the way, guys. Welcome. I'm JoyfulRogue, an extra streamer.
Welcome to XCOM.
It's gonna add so much to the conversation.
I've been streaming XCOM for the past 2 weeks. I am at the very edge of my impossible Iron Man, and after I'm done, coming back to Faeria, constructing a competitive deck. Actually, again, gonna be doing it. So I basically come here to the council to mostly learn and get acquainted with the recent events. Let's just say.
Good, good. Well, it's fine with you streaming other
You
games,
need
I
your
think.
tactical skills from XCOM.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
you have no
You're a
idea.
tactical expert.
I'm learning patience. I always click too fast in Faeria, and then my viewers can confirm. I always like move a unit, and then like, no, I shouldn't have moved it like second after. So if I just wait this one additional second to think, I will not make the mistake. I'm learning patience from XCOM.
Yeah,
I will come back
one
with
of the
power.
things- That's one of the things that I want to see is how you transition those XCOM skills to various skills and like your new perspectives.
I'm probably just gonna be clueless in the metagame for
Turn
about
5,
weeks.
Joyful has 3 minutes left on his clock.
But it doesn't matter anymore because there's just like really slow death, right?
Well, no, they actually changed it with the
Oh.
newest patch log. It's incremental damage after the overtime.
At least.
But
Okay.
they haven't patched the game yet, right?
I don't think it's live yet, but it's being changed.
It's like, oh, we get a patch log, but we knew.
They took the feedback, love
Yeah.
it.
They started doing the patch logs before the patches.
Yeah, but it's good. I'd like to see the logs before they put it live. Like, I like that.
Yeah, maybe like
you can
24
see what's
hours
coming.
before, but not like
So
3
if a card
days.
is gonna be shit, you're not gonna buy it from other people, for example.
Yeah.
That's so bad. Oh,
Quick, everyone, you need more Grim Devils.
What?
Oh, yes, we do.
They lowered the power of Grim Devils from 2 to 1.
Oh,
Have you not seen this log? Joy?
I did look at
Shit,
the
that's
log.
a major nerf. Like, one of the biggest.
So okay, so what are we doing first? Are we still doing introductions? Or are we just like?
Yeah,
ordering
this is still Joyful's introduction, so.
Okay.
we can just dive straight into the log.
But yeah, I've been trying to do the introduction. And what's up with GreatOldOne? How are you doing?
Oh, nice. I'm eating cookies for anyone who asks. My girlfriend baked me amazing cookies, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Baked cookies.
That's about it.
That's about it. What's up with KCIV?
I'm eating a sandwich and it's very delicious.
Everybody's
And I
eating
stream
something.
Hey, I've been working. I haven't eaten since I got up, but I stream at KCIV 4. I play Faeria. I haven't been playing as much recently, but I'm always in the raid call talking, giving bad ideas, getting them shut down, coming up with more bad ideas, getting them shut down. So if you guys ever want to find me, most of the time, if I'm not streaming, I'm in raid call, just doing whatever. So I've been waiting for this patch. As soon as this patch hits, then I'm gonna start playing more. I'm just like waiting for it. So, but I'm always down to play unranked games as well. Just pop in and be like, "Yo, dude, I want to stomp your face," and I'll be like, "Okay, let's play unranked."
Now we're playing
That's my
Faeria. I guess it's me and SnowToad then, maybe. So yeah, we have SnowToad with us in the bottom left, without a camera, but with a pretty nice bald head or shaved head.
No, he's actually just his webcam is live. He's just holding.
Oh, he's just posing.
He's trolling us right now.
Like the smog.
Awesome, awesome. So hey, SnowToad, tell the people who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, hi, I'm SnowToad. It's currently 3 AM for me, and I'm a bit like messy right now, so I think it's better, I have no webcam, but it's probably good that you don't see me at the webcam because I'm a huge mess. I'm just like anybody else in the chat right now. I'm just a player of the Faeria community who's passionate about the game and probably a bit more vocal about it.
Very passionate, yeah.
Yeah, I want to make 2 comments. Is that first, I like GreatOldOne background picture, the poster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was thinking, but I'm still waiting for the YouTube channel to be banned because of it. Like that, they will be like, "Oh, nudity, nudity." I'm still waiting for that.
Like PG-18.
Yeah, like red
Here we
flag
go.
the video or something like, "Oh, you need to be 18 years old to watch this video."
And second comment is that I like Case's hat on the microphone. I don't know if that's really optimal, but I think it's working.
What,
So,
the
yeah.
the hat?
Yeah, the hat and the microphone.
That and the microphone.
I'm a steampunk cowboy from the future.
Oh, I
Swag.
see. I think it's fitting. He's the American cowboy. Awesome. Okay. We have SnowToad here today to discuss one of his big topics, we call it his topic because he made a thread on the forum, which is what's it called? Anybody has it on their top of the head?
Well,
Something
it's
balance.
well, actually, after I think about it, it's actually poorly called. But during that time, that's how I felt about it, was a flaw in the design philosophy.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
But, now when I think about it, it's actually a really poorly named title because it doesn't, actually explain much about the thread.
I think you can edit it actually, but I think it's a good. I don't know. I like the title, "A Flaw in the Current Design Philosophy." It at least, I don't know. That's what made me read it. It's a headline. Yeah, it's better than Draw System.
Like, like that Team Spirit said, it's like one of those Doombringer threads. It's like, oh, it's going to be the end of the world.
The end of the world.
Yeah, one of those.
I mean, it could have been called, "This is bad and the game sucks because of it." Like, it could have been that, but it's
Oh
not.
damn, it's 4 pages. Oh man.
Yeah, it's
it got a lot of,
insane.
and that's because I think of the topic, because everyone who's just like scrolling through the forums, they're like, "Flaw in the game design." I'm gonna comment on this thread. They're like,
No, but yeah,
it's
because obviously the OP is so long that people like, geez, it has color coding? No fucking way. Like, there's no way I'm reading this shit.
I guess I should read it.
It's to be honest, I
it's
did
good.
read it in its first iteration, and then I just didn't follow the thread.
But
But we have
can we
KCIV
sum it
here.
up for
Yeah,
in
we
like
have
5
KCIV
minutes?
and SnowToad,
Prob-
and I expect SnowToad to probably like give all the viewers like the. I'm gonna link the thread actually. Here we go. And yeah. So what is the current flaw, or the flaw in the current design philosophy then?
Oh, you want to jump into it right away?
Okay. I wanna
My
know.
feet aren't even
Okay,
wet.
we
Jeez.
started getting into it, but we can actually do another topic I want to do first because I feel this discussion just gonna go on and on,
It
and what will happen is that maybe things will come up and stuff. So let's actually start with two other topics that I want to actually cover on this show, which is, well, first off, what happened yesterday? Did anybody catch the tournament? Because I was not home.
No,
I woke up and
so
it
I
was
was
over.
dead.
Everybody's like, nope, no, nobody caught it.
Saracen apparently
Sarasin
wrecked
dropped me.
face.
Jesus. Okay, at least I looked at it today though, so I was a little bit prepared. I'm gonna open the thread. Here we go. I have it. Oh, here we go. I even had it open already. So the winner yesterday was
Sarasin.
Sarasin. Yeah,
Sarasin,
that's how we
nice.
say it. Yeah, he
Nice.
won with Anti-Rad being second, and third being The Slippery, which is another guy streaming a lot. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I asked to get the. I think they updated with the top decks now, haven't they?
Here, I'm gonna send a link.
Oh yeah, they did.
This is Saracen sent me a picture.
Oh, he sent you a
He-
picture. Oh,
yeah,
great.
and he was like, "This is basic," because I got in red.
Oh,
I
a
was like,
screenshot.
"Where's the tournament?" And he's like, "This is what happened the entire tournament." So if you can show the picture, it's pretty much the summarization of the tournament.
I'm linking it. There you guys go. Here's the
Holy
link.
balls! What did he do to those poor people?
Exactly. He just wrecked face. I mean, it was just like, I completely didn't see any of these games, but everyone is just like, no, he just was just like,
So it was like a one like he just dominated.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
just it was just a snowball.
Is he a good
So what-
player or what?
It's like a rush,
Yeah, it's good.
rush deck.
Well, his
Yes.
deck is is extremely ridiculous, but Saracen is a top player.
He's a really good player, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the deck? It's like a
Oh.
blue rush deck.
You're
I'm
not
trying to
shown on
show.
screen.
I'm on
it's
my
Gold
way.
Rush.
You just linked a picture. Chill.
I can see the picture. I want to know what exactly the deck is.
Where did it go?
Basically,
the same.
all I know is GoldSilk is in there somewhere and a bunch of gold creatures.
So he
Yeah, I
still
say the
pulls
same
off
deck
a
as he
gold
does.
rush, the old one.
Oh yeah.
In
yeah.
new variation, nicely done.
That's the picture.
Oh, I remember
Basically,
playing.
it's like,
Damn.
you know,
I was
basically,
going out myself
But he didn't play a mono then. He played dual color.
Yep, it's two color,
with water,
blue and red.
and then a
and
human,
red.
and then some red too. Well, now the Grim Devils is gonna be worse, so I wonder if that's gonna work again.
Yeah. And also the GoldSilk Faeria, I think, is getting nerfed.
Really?
I
Again?
don't think it's getting nerfed. I think it's just becoming less ridiculous. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
What do you mean?
I
It's
think
Well,
not-
but that's just different
Let's go back to
words.
gold.
Come on.
Well, because I mean, like, I still think Silk will be strong. Okay, so the change is going, instead of doubling the gold, it'll just get gold instead and then an extra gold. So instead of collecting like a 3 pool and getting 6 gold in one turn, it'll just give you like 4, I think is the way it works, right?
yeah.
So it
Plus,
gets
yeah.
nerfed.
Plus
So, I
one gold
It's
when
not
collecting.
like a huge nerf, but it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you're not getting 24
It's
gold.
a gigantic nerf. Because normally you use that fairy to grab like six gold at once. And they
Yeah,
nerfed
that's
that,
true.
and that's oh gosh.
I still think it'll be good.
I don't think Sarasin's gonna play that deck anymore.
Yeah, the GoldSilk Fairy is also like changing from Faeria back to gold cost, like 2 gold. So, you know, it's an opening starting hand now, so it's viable.
Oh wait, what? It costs gold now?
It's going to cost gold.
Or
Okay,
it's
patch.
just still one Faeria? And oh no, it does. Oh, so it's not. Okay, so maybe it is playable now. Yeah,
It's just
actually.
it just
'cause
went
it's
from like
so
ridiculous to
good.
like really good. That's what I think.
But what we can see from the top 3 decks they have posted, everybody were playing duo, like colors. Well, nobody played mono in the top 3.
Cool, that's nice. That gives so much variety. That if dual colors work better than single, the metagame is gonna be going crazy, and I love that.
Yeah, that's
I almost
excellent.
don't know how I feel about that. I almost feel like by default, dual color should have a harder time than mono.
Maybe higher skill ceiling. That kind of harder time.
I would agree with that. Higher skill ceiling, yeah.
But
that's
then on
true.
the tournaments, this higher skill ceiling is fine because the players should be top. So maybe
I guess
I
it
really
comes down
like that because in scrolls there was talk about dual colors, but the mono was really
was
the only thing you
impossible.
could play.
Dual color wasn't even close to being.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
But it's
So
still
now
blue in
Faeria
every one.
dual colors are the ones who are just owning. That means the metagame is never gonna get as stagnant as scrolls. I love that.
But it's still blue in each one of them, though.
So
Each
blue-
one is playing blue and something else.
It's cool. It's cool.
Uh,
Power can change between colors, but if dual
Blue,
works,
yellow.
dual will keep working.
does blue get nerfed here? Let's see.
Flat Caprice
Yeah,
got
what
nerfed,
happens-
I'm so happy.
Okay,
Flat
so
Caprice.
can we like, are we gonna go through the changelog or show it, or are we just gonna like pick random things? Before
if
we
we go
dive
th-
into
if we
it.
go if we go through, it's gonna be the whole show.
No, not. Okay, so we're just gonna do like a few more things. Okay, so the blue changes are the unbearable
So ma-
words changed to 2 mountains, so it's no longer splashable in blue easily. You can still
Well,
do it, it's just not very good.
did you say
and the
blue-
Caprice was changed, huh?
There's only 2 changes to blue here.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're big
yeah.
changes though.
Blue-
Can I
Unbearable
suggest how
works.
we go about things? Maybe we should just link the changelog to the people on the chat, and then each one of us just picks one change that thinks is most interesting, and then we
Sure,
discuss
go.
those and just go ahead.
Okay,
I think we've
let's
already
do
hit
that.
the major things.
Yeah.
So I guess it falls down to me to choose the first change since I proposed.
Pick a change. Pick a change. I just posted the link.
Okay,
Posted.
so my biggest change I would say is the GoldSilk Fairy changed to 2 gold from 1 Fairy cost. That is gigantic because when I used to play the gold decks, it was always the best case scenario ever to get the GoldSilk Fairy in the opening hand so I can build the terrain straight to my opponent and get ridiculous amounts of gold still with a flying Fairy. And then they nerfed it to Faeria, to cost Faeria, so I can no longer do that. I have to first pick up Faeria to get the GoldSilk Fairy. And now it costs gold again. So I think a gold costing deck will still work again, because if I get the GoldSilk Fairy opening, it's just freaking broken. So that change, I love that, and I'm gonna be playing gold deck as soon as I come back. What do you guys think about that?
I think the biggest change is probably well, there's the timer, but let's say if we're talking about balance changes, I guess unbearable words, which probably should have been in every deck, like every deck. I don't care which deck. It should have been 3 of those in every deck, and now it will probably only be in red deck. So I think it's a huge change.
The Unbearable Wars, where was...
It requires 2 mountains now instead of 1 mountain.
Oh,
so
it's a small
not
thing.
it's not as splashable.
It's
a
very
really small
subtle.
thing.
It's a very subtle thing in blue to take it to 2 mountains.
It's a big deal. I mean,
Interesting.
for a blue deck to have 1, you know,
Yeah.
it's 1 less gold and 1 like less space to spawn units. I think it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
Actually.
I don't know, but it's needed. I mean, I just don't understand why this card was like, it wasn't 2 mountains from like, I don't know, from the beginning. I said like 2 months ago that it should be 2 mountains. It's just one of the best cards in the game.
Yeah.
SnowToad, do you have a which would
Well,
be your pick in the change
I
log?
can share you guys a story. Before I left for the weekend to do some work, right? I was playing some games on the computer, and my opponent played Leviathan, Flat Caprice, Flat Caprice, Flat Caprice, 3 Flat Caprice in like 3 consecutive turns, and I just got dominated. It's like he has a Leviathan in front of my like face, and like his land is all the way to my face, and my land's all broken up, right? I was like, oh, Flat Caprice so strong, right? And you know, it was like the only combat trick. You know, I used combat trick quotation marks because you know it was more of a land manipulation thing, but it's still used as a combat trick, right? That didn't cost Faeria, so I'm happy that now Flat Caprice costs like 1 Faeria. So I was like, yes, I don't see like rage-inducing games like that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's a big change.
To me, the biggest change was like the turn 3 wipe out your opponent.
The what?
Or not literally turn 3. It's like turn 3 to 5 or whatever. Where like in a blue v blue, if you got a Caprice, you could Caprice what they placed and kill it. And then you could also do it on like I think it's the 5th land. If you play a creature aggressively, you can Caprice their Harvester and you, generally speaking, kill it. And when you're down a creature that early, it's really hard to come back because it's not like you can play it on the Fae. You have to play it back in a safe spot so it doesn't get killed with the second creature he plays in the haste. But then it's like, though you have no Fae, and then it's just like it's just hard to deal with. So
you wanna know my
okay.
you wanna know my anti-blue strategy as green? Is to have my first elemental in forests all the time and play them aggressively.
Oh my god!
Because if they
bugging out the game.
because if they flood Caprice, the first elemental in a forest, the game crashes. Yeah, it's a bug. It's a bug. But it's my anti-blue. Like I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna attack you with my first elementals in forests, and if you the only way for you to deal with that, like as soon as they Caprice, the game crashes.
Oh my god.
What the hell? Well,
that's a bug though. It's
better.
in the bug reports. It's just a very good anti-blue way of playing. Until they fix it.
You can't really lose to that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I never lose against blue because I play first elementals in forests, and they like, oh, I'm gonna Caprice like poof. No achievements were awarded this game.
It's like yes. It's like anti-blue.
It's my anti-blue because I hate facing blue. I hate them. Blue is bad. But yeah, I actually like the fact that they have under fixes and improvements. Unranked games now reward memorias, but they do say conditions will be given here. Like we don't know details, but so when next patch comes, that's supposed to be in that people can play unranked and still get memoria for it.
Yep.
That's really nice.
So that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be good. I think that's just like I like that. It's gonna be good for the game. It's gonna be good for new players. You know, it's gonna give them a way to grind. Yeah, and for playing with friends, yes. Because usually when my friends wants to play, I'm like, nah, because I'm not gonna get any memoria. I don't want to play you. Like, no, it doesn't mean anything.
Get the memoria. The farm.
Yep. So I think that's good. Did someone who didn't say Omri, GreatOldOne, did you pick anything?
Yeah, I picked
the words.
Unbearable words.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
didn't
true.
do one. That's me.
Nah, okay, so we don't need.
So my change is the singing Tipi. Okay, so here's the thing.
You said that because of chat.
No, this was like the last thing to talk about from the patch, really. Like, okay, so basically, singing Tipi is like the best that now. Like, okay, so you have like the silent windmill, you have the overgrown tower. Those are kind of like your options. And now it's just like, well, why would you play them? Singing TP is just better. Like, it's just better. So this it doesn't.
So
what they did is they're giving green an ability to ramp up faster, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously with Overgrown was good, but it was short. So like you would get, you know, 1 extra action for 4 turns roughly, and then it was like, okay, good. Then it would go away. But now for 1x you can play Singing TP and get infinite increase. It's not just like for 4 turns, it's permanent.
I would probably run both in my deck.
It ramps up, it lets green get going faster, so it speeds up green a little bit, which can help against the rush. The words and Caprice changes slowed blue down by like 1 or 2 turns slightly. So it's like the slight adjustments of timings within the color, which is interesting, but I don't know if I like this change with Singing TP. Like, I see the mindset of like, okay, they're trying to give green, you know, a ramping up, and that's good. I get that. But at the same time, I'm like, why does this have to be infinitely better than all the other options?
It sounds overpowered like hell. The more I look at it, the more it's like, what the hell? 1 Faeria, and then I get an action point. Not even gold, but action point that I can do anything with. Ridiculously strong now. I mean,
it's like
the only change was 1 Faeria in the cost.
It was strong before. Why?
Yeah, but 2 Fae early, change. Like you spending 2 Fae early in blue is gonna be really hard. So the fact they nerfed it to 1 is like, okay, I can have 1 Fae for Naboria. I have 1 Fae if I need to do something else, and then I spend 1 Fae to get extra actions. It's like, the change is, I get the change, but at the same time, I'm just like, what?
I'm
But
scared.
but
I'm
were
scared
anybody
now.
playing? Were any of the top players playing singing TPs before this change? The change hasn't even come in
No.
yet, but like
I don't
No.
think so.
no. So
Most
nobody
of
nobody
no,
playing
no
singing
one-
playing singing TPs at it
Yeah.
was or is. So they needed to change it somehow, I guess, from that standpoint. But so I guess that was the wrong change then, according to you.
I don't know if it was the wrong change. I just think it's like, okay, so why would I? Okay, so you wouldn't play Silent Windmill because it costs more, right? But in Forest, you're going to be spending, you have to place 2 forests, so technically this costs more than just pure simple Windmill. So this is more effective in Green, but does Green need that extra efficiency? Like, I mean, I guess Red kind of has that as well. Like, Red has really efficient for Red only. So I guess it makes sense they would make a really efficient a ramping resource card in Green. But I don't know if this was like, I don't know. It's just interesting.
I mean,
think it would be
it-
interesting to
yeah.
see.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's obviously. I think I agree with Sarasin in chat who says it's a good change to see what happens because
yeah, that is-
as you say, like people were picking Windmill before this, which isn't a green card. So with that,
Wow.
I think it's interesting to see people not using Windmill and use this instead.
I would
What
say
if they
if they
changed it
wanted
to 2
to
gold? Sorry, go ahead.
actually buff a TP, they should buff the other one, the one nobody uses, but it's really cool, the one that discards cards.
Oh yeah.
Why didn't they bring back from the dead the card that was never ever used, but it's so cool in concept?
Which card are we talking about?
There
It's
was
the
a TP.
TP? No. It's the
Card gain 2 action, I
The-
think.
Oh yeah, that one.
yeah. You
What?
discard. You spend an energy and a discard, and you get 2 actions, right? And it's like
Yeah.
2
I've seen
gold,
that.
1
I've seen
fey or
that
something.
been used actually, but it's not that
Faeria
often.
card list. Let's go to Wiki.
So
Got this.
that's just, I would say that's amazing. I want more of this card in
More
this game. Like,
discard
I
and green?
want to throw away my own cards that are useless for a benefit in some other way. That I would love to use that TP, but it costs what, 3 Faeria?
Yes,
if I remember
1 gold,
correctly.
3 fey, 1
So
energy,
that is just
discard,
never
gain
gonna get
2
used.
actions.
It's
If
just
they
too
made
greedy.
it 1 gold, 2 fey,
Yeah.
I would say that that's pretty balanced because, like, even though it sounds like, oh my gosh, but that's so strong, it's like, yeah, but you're discarding. Like,
Yeah.
you're getting rid of 1 of 3. Like,
Also, it's only like
but
one
it's chosen,
HP,
right?
no?
You choose one.
Yeah, you choose, but I think it's like 1 HP.
Yeah,
The structure.
most of them
yeah,
are.
so you can just land renewal it or whatever. I mean, it's not too strong in my opinion. It's fine.
Okay.
Now you guys have a reason to run sabotage. Come on. New meta.
Yeah, we need more reasons for sabotage. That's true, and TP maybe that.
I don't know.
that's-
I think, well,
It's not worth the
people
card
should
slot.
at least try it before they say it's like overpowered. I mean, no one even tried it.
Okay, we're done
I
with the
just
change
on
log.
paper, it's like, what? But I think I really like what Sarasin said. It's a change to see. I really think that, like, the possibilities on paper lets green ramp up sooner, which really helps against rush. It can put out, a couple creatures more than it could before. So who knows? It's once this hits, I'm so excited to play green again. Even though it's just like this tiny little change. They took away blue's unbearable words, so finally a blue isn't just like, hey, come here, Aboria. Come here. Come over here. I have 10 people waiting for you. I can actually play it and be like, okay, it's not gonna like get pulled. Yeah, it doesn't. Blue won't try to give hugs to every creature I place.
Group hugs. Awesome. All right. I want to discuss who goes first in a game. Like so. Yeah. Like who goes first? Advantage, disadvantage. Like yeah. I want your thoughts about that. Like, is it an advantage to go first or go second? And like, is it like a big difference in advantage, disadvantage?
I think it really depends on which color you play. I mean, as blue, I think going second is usually quite good because you can play almost every aquatic harvester that you want on the second turn instead of the third turn, which is quite big. And I don't know, the other colors, it really depends. I mean, even if you play defensive, sometimes it's good to go second, just so you can see if someone is coming to let's say to your second Faeria spawn, and then you can go to your other side. I don't know. I think going second is fine. going first is, I don't think it's a disadvantage, but it's I mean, I don't think it gives you like advantage like most games does.
Yeah, I would say from all the card games that I've seen so far, and probably all of the other ones I haven't seen, Faeria did the best job at balancing going first and second to the point where some decks actually do want to go second, and that's something I haven't seen in other games at all. I mean, Hearthstone did it decently, but Faeria is amazing in the way that you actually want to go second. If you have a Tiki Bonga, for example, with the Forest, you can play your Tiki Bonga earlier if you're going second. It's oftentimes I like going second, actually. It's amazing.
I think it really comes down to what cards you have, because let's say I go second. So I'm going to place a creature, and it's going to be like, okay, so we both play a creature, harvester, whatever. Like, that's fine. But if someone, if someone is going first, then they can be aggressive before I can be aggressive, generally speaking. Like, if by the time it's my turn to place a creature, he'll have already placed his creature, which means when it ceases to be my turn, he can be aggressive and I can't respond to it yet. But at the same time, if I have combat tricks or I have who knows what, I can change the pace of the game. I can change it to where I have the first turn advantage. So I would say, like, it's not, if you're playing default, then obviously whoever places the creature first, if it's in a good position, will be able to do something first. Obviously, this depends on positions of the board, but I mean, if I have a bunch of haste cards in my hand, it doesn't really matter who goes first, because as soon as he makes a move, I'm going to counter it by something he can't counter, by like an event haste card. So I think it really just depends.
I would say the player who goes second actually gets the creature first.
Really?
Yeah, because you get more money. That's why you want to go
Depends
second.
on the creature.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if you get like a 3 gold creature, I think if you go first, you can get it 4.
Yeah, you got the. It's
we
like
have to like.
The first player
Yeah.
gets land faster. That's the advantage. But the second player gets the creature faster.
Interesting. I never even thought about that.
What do you think, SnowToad?
I think I've been playing for the past week a really high-speed rush-oriented deck, and I was always happy if I got first because I would just rush for the like their Faeria, right? Their Faeria wells. If I got second, I didn't really mind, and you know, like there are games when I like play against speed healer, right? And like a lot of like high-ranking players, and they aggressively draw cards in the beginning of the game, right? And this one action point difference. Actually, no, is it 1 gold difference? Yeah, 1 gold difference, right?
It's 1 action point, yeah.
You know, yeah, 1 action point difference does big difference, you know, because sometimes it's better to start 5 cards than 4 cards. You know, you have more options to see. Yeah, I think, you know, they're like JR said, JoyfulRogue said, you know, it's really well balanced. You know, I'm happy with both. Sometimes I want to aggressively draw cards. Sometimes I just want to punch face.
Yeah, I'm in the camp where I like it the way it is. But I've seen discussion on the forums where that's why the topic came up, because I've seen discussion on the forums where some argue that it's this way or the other way. Also, I would like to see, like, if possible, it would be awesome if the developers could release stats to like how, like, you know, percentage, like, okay, how many went first and how many of those games were won or lost, right?
I love statistics.
I'd rather see colors.
Blizzard did
with
that
as well.
But oh yeah, well, you can go deeper, but Blizzard did that with Hearthstone. I haven't even played Hearthstone yet, but they did release that. They actually released that when, like, during their BlizzCon thing. And apparently, well, they just looked at 1 month after like a certain change or something, and they were at least they were down to where it was very, very even when they were looking at all the games played for like a month.
So what was that? Like 45-55 or something?
It was, I think it was closer to 60-40.
Like 60, no.
No, wasn't
I think
it?
it was like 53.
Oh, was it that?
47,
Oh.
if I remember correctly. I mean, everyone said that going second is better in Hearthstone. And then the stats show that actually going first is like 53%. The problem was that it showed stats from all levels of play, from like the worst players to the best players. And the best players in the game still claim that going second is a huge advantage. So,
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Is that I'd be really happy if Faeria gave the option for the, let's say, like, the game starts in a coin toss. The person that wins the coin toss gets to pick whether he wants to go first or second. So decks can have you know, more reliably, like I'm a defensive deck, I want to draw more cards early, or something like that, and find more answers. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it does. I think it's a hidden point cost anyway, right? Like it obviously randomizes who goes first, right? But you know, having it be like, oh, okay, we flip the coin. You get which decides who gets to pick. You know, whether you want to go first or second. Would be interesting.
Although,
actually, I agree with Shotgun. He just said in chat that.
Maybe that's
bad.
It makes the bigger advantage.
Yeah, without looking at the chat, I thought the same thing as Shotgun actually in a moment ago. Yeah.
Because then you get to choose according to your strategy, and that will be a bigger advantage than having it random.
It's a bigger advantage and depends on luck.
Without choosing, then everybody is equally screwed over by the RNG. But when one person gets a choice, that's suddenly like, oh well, you won the coin toss, so you got the advantage.
Yeah. It's interesting though, but now that you're saying it, like, yeah, maybe that is true. It's better to be like, okay, I can't build my deck, or well, I mean, you can build a deck that is way better when going second if you want to, but you will still have to know, like, you will still be like, okay, but if I go first, I'm gonna be worse off, and I won't get the choice. It's gonna be random. So you have the decision to make whether to build your deck, you know, according to going first or second, or just being more balanced into, you know, if it matters. Everybody's like lost. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody's moving on.
Okay. So that was that. Before we go into SnowToad's topic, then there's one more. A lot of people are comparing this game to Magic the Gathering. The question to ask here right now is that a good or a bad comparison? Is it a correct or wrong comparison? And I had a lot of opinions about this when I wrote that topic up.
I would say you've just jumped into SnowToad's topic, actually.
Oh, is it really going?
Yeah.
Is that part of your topic, SnowToad?
Yeah. It was something that I wrote on my topic, and that wasn't the main, you know, the main direction of where I want to take the post. But a lot of people, you know, was pretty one-sided about either it's this way or either it's not this way. And
I think
now I'm interested
I
to
have to
hear.
make a disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm really interested to hear. That's
Because I find that because I was like, yeah, we lost. Did we lose him? Joyful?
I think so.
oh.
I'm fine. What are you talking about?
Yeah, your cam just turned off.
Oh, let me
Turn it
take a
on
look
again.
at that.
So are we gonna dive straight into SnowToad, or are we gonna answer this first?
What do you think, SnowToad? Should we answer that separately, or do you want us to do that inside your topic?
Well, I think they're separate conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, separating it's
the
fine,
thing
so
the thing that
things will get messed
got
up.
me like to put it up in the Google Doc was the fact that I actually saw Dev replying to something somewhere. It might have been in your topic actually. I don't know where, but where
It
where
was.
It was? Okay, you already know. You're like, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm trying to remember the details, but one major thing is that when people are discussing, like, okay, whether or not Faeria is balanced, whether or not things are working as they should, and they're like, oh, well, look at Magic, oh, no, right? Like, and they are comparing them, meaning that, oh, this works just like Magic, so we should think just like Magic. You know, one thing that annoyed me, like, I was like, I didn't reply actually, I think, but I was like, rah, like raging, but then I, like, nope, not gonna put that on the forum looking bad. But what had me thinking is that we lack one big thing that Magic has when you are talking about whether or not the games is balanced, is the fact that you can counter events. Like, that is something that, right there, in my opinion, we cannot compare to Magic anymore, because that is such a big element, in my opinion, that when looking at Magic, like, you can actually counter spells and events and stuff like that. That is like a part of that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You didn't know?
the
Yeah. Oh,
instant
I don't even
spells.
play Magic like that. I only played Magic on Xbox Planewalker. So obviously I'm not like a big Magic the Gathering player, but I at least know that much, that I can counter someone's spell with certain cards. And to me, that is a big deal when looking into balancing events. in that game. And then looking at Faeria, where you cannot do that, it's a whole different ballgame when looking at how events play and how big of an effect they have, especially when someone is saying that, oh, you know, I actually like this because this works the exact same way in Magic. One of them being a developer, and I was like, oh, you should not say that. Like, but obviously everybody's entitled to their opinion, but that is my opinion, that Magic is one different game from Faeria. And then we have the board game aspect of it, where actually placing land and stuff, like, you don't do that in Magic. So even there, I think it's just, you know, you cannot compare these two games. Like, and sure, it's deck building, it's cards, sure, but the rules are so different.
I wouldn't compare. I would go as far as to say I wouldn't compare Faeria to almost any other card game out there. I wouldn't compare it to Scrolls. I wouldn't compare it to Magic. I wouldn't compare it to, I don't know, Shadow Era. It's
specifically.
I mean, almost every card game is completely different. Even I wouldn't compare Scrolls to any other card game as well. It's just
maybe
a different idea.
Because there are positional plays in both.
I mean, I would compare Faeria to some board games I know. Let's say Mage Wars is a really good board game that is somehow similar, but still it's so different. Like, I can't think that you can compare it to anything.
The devs kind of have to say, like as much as we want to talk about, oh, well, we should balance because of Magic, unless the devs say we are going to make our game and balance it like it's Magic, then you can't say that, because Magic doesn't have a board, and Magic has specific things in it that are different design philosophies, like SnowToad's post said, than Faeria. And I think that there's a lot of blurring because of, you know, because most of the community, I haven't played any other card game. This is my first. But a lot of other people have played other card games, so obviously they come in with that kind of mindset. And I don't think it's a bad mindset, but I think when you come with, like, the mindset of, this is Faeria, this is just like Magic. Well, in Magic they do this. This will work in Faeria. I think that's where there's a problem. I think it should be, well, Magic does it this way. Okay, why does this work for Magic? Okay, so here's how it works in Magic. Okay, well, how would that work in Faeria? Oh, it doesn't? Okay. Like, I think there needs to be, like, more steps in between. Because, like, for example, when we're talking about, you know, events and stuff, in Magic, there's counter events. So the way they've balanced events, whether they make them too strong or too weak, is that there is a counter for them. So obviously, because Faeria has no counter, you can't just be like, oh, well, you know, well, we need to make these events do different things. The balance for events is different in Faeria than in Magic. I just rambled because I'm tired. But
no, but I agree, though. Like, it's important to know that events cannot be countered. Like, you play an event, it happens. Like, the opponent never has an option to stop. I'm gonna do this now because you did that, so I'm gonna, like, instantly counter you. Which you can do in Magic. You know, so yeah, it's different. It's so different.
Although,
like,
counter spells, I would enjoy in Faeria. Maybe buildings that counter spells.
They've talked about it, like with the whole fate mechanic that they took out of the game, and that they've been teasing. And
I was expecting. I see it in chat. I was expecting KC to start talking about that.
They've been saying that they're. I'm not going to put words in their mouth, but there is talk about adding things that allow you to interrupt your opponent's turn. Now, whether those are soon or extreme future, that's different. But.
The point is not counter spell, though. I mean,
no.
It doesn't matter if you can counter the spell. It means that you can actually react during. I mean, actually not doing, like, before someone does something. So let's say someone wants to, you know, make an event that, you know, jump somewhere, make a creature jump. Then you can, let's say, have an event that makes your creature move someplace else before.
But that is sort of a counter, isn't it?
Crazy.
But it's not a counter that it cancels the spell. It means that you can just react.
Yeah, but
think
it's
about
still.
it. If they added counter spells, like, okay, so think about it this way: if they added counter spells, then what is the main thing going on in the game? You're moving and positioning well, or you're positioning poorly on the board, but you have a good card, like. And that kind of touches what SnowToad was talking about. Like, if there is such a focus around the board and positioning and strike back and energy and all this kind of, you know, specific board mechanics, then why would you add it to where you're basically playing a card game just with a board that really isn't all that important? Because if you have counters, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Does that kind of make sense? So like as much as I want counter spells, and I'm like, God would love them. It's like, yeah, but then it would kind of change to be like.
What about an anti-magic ability on the unit so that
absolutely
around the unit the magic is countered?
Yeah, we've been talking about this.
I think we should stop saying counter spell because it's so confusing to people who actually play Magic. Because there's a spell called counter spell which actually counters the actual spell. And it's really confusing to
Okay.
What is it called in Magic then?
Counter spell.
Counter spell. It's called counter spell.
Instant cards.
Oh, instant. How? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say counter events then.
Can I expand this topic?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, basically, in my personal opinion, I think the board aspect is the most charming aspect about Faeria, and I think it should be highly emphasize on, right? And a lot of people talked about instant speed events, and I kind of feel that it's pretty clunky because let's say if we added some instant speed events and you want to react to what your opponent does, but then the game needs to have a yes or no button, and after every attack or every event they cast, you press yes or no, and then the game becomes like super clunky and super like not like ergonomic, not just like not a fast flow to the game, and I think that would ruin the fun of the game.
I agree.
Yeah. One thing I really like about Magic and that we should learn from Magic is that how highly interactive Magic is, even in the opponent's turn. One thing that Faeria does lack is interactivity during the opponent's turn, where you're just waiting and watching. I think that's, if that's going to happen, then we should make the turns like this is my personal bubble, and when it's your personal turn, you can do whatever you want in your bubble, and we'll just clash. Yeah, but I do like what pardon me?
Did you play Infinity Wars? It's a digital card game.
Oh, no, sorry.
No, so they do just exactly what you said. Everyone plays their own turn without the other player seeing, and they both press finish, and both players just.
But that wouldn't work in this game, though.
They would have to add speeds to everything, so you would have a resolution.
I don't like
order
it.
of
I'm
resolution.
just saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Speed statistic to make sure what happens first, right? That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to actually do interactivity.
I like
so
the
that
fact
you can actually do something in your opponent's turn. What could you do?
Well, they have talked about trap cards, which would interrupt what your opponent is doing, but it's not that you're doing something in your opponent's turn. Is that you've played something on your turn to interrupt your opponent? Go ahead, SnowToad.
So,
I like what JR said. JoyfulRogue said about having a unit that's like kind of a barrier, because also it's really good card designing, because you're not only just designing a cool card, you're also designing a card that affects the board. And like I said, I think that should be considered when designing all cards is how does this card play on the board? Like unlike Runic Flash, which a lot of people said, it doesn't regard the board at all. It doesn't matter where your opponent is, or it doesn't matter what's going on the board. If you have enough to play Runic Flash, you can play Runic Flash, right?
Yep.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you have a unit and he has bubble or whatever, and the units around him can't be targeted by offensive spells or something like that, or a dead magic zone where magic won't work in there. I mean, events won't work in this dead zone.
That could be cool. Maybe a dragon.
Yes, the human dragon. We're all waiting for it.
The human dragon. Oh. Yeah, we don't have a human dragon yet. That's
but then
true.
it needs to be a human dragon rider. It needs to be it has to be human. So.
Who was that?
That was Joyful.
That was Joyful. Alright.
We've talked about that before in raid call. There's a few of us that we're always talking about crazy stuff, and we were talking about a weapon rack structure that you place it, and then cards adjacent to it can't be moved or affected by events. For example, you can still buff your creature and still deal that buffed damage to the creature that has the anti-magic whatever on it, but you wouldn't be able to Unbearable words it out. Those effects wouldn't work. But what the heck is this picture?
It's a trap card, one of those trap card pictures. Thomas sent one of them when he was streaming Faeria. No, he was streaming Scrolls, and he was she just He pulled out a manganol speed and he just put up this image on his whole stream. Just like, you activated my trap card. I want one of these when I'm gonna be playing Faeria.
That's just awesome.
But yeah, but I really like what you said about Runic Flash, because there's a lot of cards that have board-specific interactions. Like, if it's on a prairie, if it's on a forest, tiki ambush,
Yeah.
if you're on your own land, like, there's all this, and then there's, like, Fire Flap, anything. Runic Flash, anything. It doesn't Morning Hazard... What's Morning Hazard condition? Is it just any creature?
It's
Oh,
4
that is
power or more.
4 power more. Okay, never mind. So,
Irrelevant of
so
the
I mean,
board,
there are
but-
a lot of cards that don't have board interaction, and I would say that this is okay, but it should be very limited. Very limited. Because otherwise it's like,
Yeah.
well, why would I play a Falcon Dive instead of Runic Flash? Well, Falcon Dive only hits if it's on, you know, this. It's like, well, Runic Flash is just better. Like, it does more damage. It doesn't have, like, a specific land condition. So I don't know. I like the
3 power or
board-specific
more.
interaction.
Joyful
Oh,
Rogue,
chat.
please get your shit
Oh,
together.
Joyful, you've been
Power.
away from Faeria for too long.
I told you
You can
guys.
tell how bad we are.
XCOM
It's like it's
streamer.
actually 3 power or more, not 4. Sorry.
Yeah, Joyful is a placeholder nowadays here, so
Placeholder, excuse me.
we need him to
Like
fit the
replacing
overlay.
React.
For those
um,
of you watching, we will have a join our show form you need to fill out. You'll be taking the place of Joyful Rogue.
yeah, there'll be an
Oh,
addition.
kidding.
See Yak there, Yak plushie.
Oh,
Awesome.
but yeah.
but-
So where did we leave off? We were talking about board interaction and how that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I guess we started with comparing with Magic, and then we just faded into. I guess I would like SnowToad to. I guess we could have that super short break because I would like to get something to drink. Probably whiskey because this show is getting there. Nah.
Right. Omar, you could go read the topic now.
Yeah, and Omri can go read the topic.
Oh,
And when
yeah.
we get back, I'll have SnowToad more or less tell us his whole topic. Yeah, so you prepare.
Or you could link the topic on the Twitch chat so that people can familiarize themselves.
Yeah, we can do that too.
But
We're gonna do that. I'm about to find it. There we go. A flaw in the
have,
current
like-
design philosophy.
Oh, it's not already possible.
SnowToad got it.
Yeah. In
There we go.
page
Double
3,
post.
I summarize everybody's ideas. So, you know, if you're lazy, read past everything. Just hop to page 3 and read my post there.
In page 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I summarize like what personally the ideas I think are good. There are more ideas in there,
Oh
but
Jesus! There's another
so
post
much
there.
flaws of text, so many passionate people that I was like, oh, my eyes hurt. I need a break.
That was me.
I mean, this is like, oh yeah. Summarizing good ideas. KCIV. KCIV again.
Casey was like posting like more than me. He posts like 10 times more than me in there.
He's a
It's
student.
great.
He's
'cause
a
I had like a Word document, and I would type out this like 400-page long thing, and I was like, nah, I shouldn't post this. Copy paste into Word. I have like 3 Word documents that are like 5 pages long. I'm just like, oh god, too much.
You can make your own thread with all of that, like KCIV's
Yeah,
Word
no.
document.
It's not worth it. And then like some of the ideas, like I think it was Gorham responded to. He's like, no, this is a bad idea, and I was like, I wasn't saying to do that. I was just saying this is a possibility, and here's why that doesn't work. And I was like, oh no, my shame. It was good.
I don't think you have to be what's the word?
Yeah, I have no honor.
No, but
it doesn't
I'm
matter.
saying you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to post something being like, oh, this will be liked by the devs. No, like if you have a topic or a discussion or whatever, like just go ahead. I mean.
Oh no, I went ahead many times with many paragraphs.
Awesome. Alright. I guess it's gonna be not more than 3-minute break. So here it
Yeah,
goes.
quick.
Mute your microphones and whatnot.
Hi, hi.
Okay.
So, welcome back.
Oh, there we go. And I have my whiskey. Awesome.
Something to drink, you say?
I haven't had whiskey in a while.
Well,
Cheers.
here, this is. I also got a ton of whiskey too.
Super size.
This is, this is.
I'm watching Polish beer.
The McDonald's.
Vodka.
You know.
Like,
Freaking hell, I don't even know.
Drinking a mug of vodka.
Yeah.
Mug of vodka.
Mug of vodka. At least I'm actually drinking bourbon, so I'm being a little bit American right here. It's Four Roses small batch.
Americans don't know what that is. All they know is if it has Red Bull or
Really?
Gatorade mixed into it.
I guess
Oh.
everybody knows this, right? That Jack Daniels, where they make it, it's illegal to drink it.
Isn't it? Because
Oh,
it's like crazy.
It's like a dry state where they
Yeah.
make it.
It's like
illegal.
caffeine.
It's
Like
so funny.
if you took like raw caffeine, it would like kill you or something.
Wait,
Casey,
it would kill you.
where's the snake?
Oh, you want the snake? Jeez, I can't make nobody happy.
Oh, here we go.
Need one at each side.
Yeah, I've run out of animals. I don't have very many.
Will we one day have a drunk Kappa Council?
Keep doing a
Because
good
I
job.
guess
You're gonna get a
first.
yak over there.
A drunk
Oh,
Kappa Council. That will be. I was actually like,
First of all,
I
think
looked at the
half of us
calendar.
wouldn't get to a drunk state, even after like 19 beers.
Half of
Omari's
us?
just like, I'm still
what?
good.
What is that like preconception of something like?
Because
half
the
of us
American
wouldn't-
over here has like a sip. Oh, guys,
Okay.
that 2% so strong.
We should all play drunk D&D on Skype.
Oh yes, that would be really
Drunk
fun.
D&D
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
on Skype. Jesus.
We could all
That's
use
Skype.
like,
Happens.
creatures
Jim.
from Faeria. Make it
I would watch
interesting.
that.
Yeah, Joyful would be our.
We would have one guy
dungeon
watching
master.
it. Awesome.
Yeah, one guy.
I'll
This
be
sounds
there 100
great.
times.
I actually think a lot more people will watch it than the Kappa Council.
Really?
Drunk's roleplay. Are you kidding me?
It'd
Well,
be very interesting.
I would participate, but I
Send
would
it
not
to-
be the game master though.
We could get like drunk Martin.
Who would be the game master?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind being. Well, never mind now.
Okay, we're
Alright,
clearly setting something up. Every Monday, the drunk cap.
The drunk cap.
Isn't there a drinking
Council.
game for Faeria as it is? I'm pretty sure there's like a drinking game for different people's streams.
Really?
should-
Oh, we
God,
should
no.
definitely make a drinking game.
Every
for the
time I
Kappa.
say something is OP, take a shot.
This is OP.
I think the game was that every time you became salty, people drink, and
Yeah, but it's hard to
nobody
find-
survived that so far. I don't think anybody.
Yeah. 4 people died.
Alright.
Oh my god, every
Jesus.
time JoyfulRogue makes a mistake.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, every time I make a
Just kills
misplay.
5 people.
Yes, absolutely. That needs to happen. We need to do this.
Okay.
Every time I make a misplay. Oh,
I don't know.
so
I don't.
good.
You know, I was looking at the calendar, and I mean, the last episode of the year would be the 29th if we manage to do that. December. That is my birthday, actually.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know. You know, because I'm expecting things to happen during the holiday. But if we are doing an episode on the 29th, that could be a good time to be like New Year's partying, all like that.
Yeah.
If we manage to pull an episode on the 29th, it's just between Christmas and New Year's, so I don't know. We'll see. Let's not decide on that now, though. But
Moving on.
moving on.
Onward.
SnowToad has a topic which we'll link you guys to. Is there any chance that you can like generalize it, or just you can start it off by saying what you want to be said and stuff like that.
So basically, a lot of us here understand that somewhere deep inside us that there are problems with the game and we can't properly articulate it. for example, like how the game's really hard to come back in a losing situation. It's like abysmally hard to come back, right? And how sometimes the game seems uninteractive or just like simply rage-inducing. And the point of the post and the thread was to start discussion about some of these problems that we face and how to possibly fix them. At least conversation was beginning. The whole point was to just start the conversation. And I hope that with even after today the conversation continues, and people are always talking about how, because we're in the beta and this is the only time that we can make great sweeping changes. So and to fix the core problems deeply rooted in the game. Yeah. So basically, for my post, I kind of started out how I consider a flaw in design philosophy, because a lot of cards can be played out of the hand with minimal interaction on the board, correct? Like how I cited before, Runic Flash, or like how things were, like how a blue player can play like 3 Lunar Monkeys and like during their turn and completely like dominate you during a fight without you being able to respond to the situation, because yeah. And I kind of like the thread started out with people mostly talking about should the game be more chess oriented, which is purely like no random combat tricks or unseeable. Yeah. The thing was that I'm struggling explaining this.
No,
right.
it's okay. I think you're doing fine.
It's fine. Take time to organize your thoughts, and it's fine. Or,
This playing out of hand, like the problem for me personally was that a lot of calculations were made on the board, right? Like how do I attack? Like what is my sequence of attack, right? And sometimes it's really, really hard to analyze what's good players do it. A lot of great players do it, correct? That they know that, okay, I'm playing against a blue deck. Most likely he has a Flood Caprice or Triton jump in his hand, right? And they can account for it. But, sometimes it's really hard to do it, because does he how do you move under the pretense that he has the card or might not have the card, right? If you're too overly defensive and he doesn't have the card, then you lose out. But if you're too aggressive and he has the card, then you lose the game again, So, and I didn't really like this uncertain factor of the game, because I'm more of a hardcore, like pure, like everything should be like strategy kind of person.
You don't like the hidden stuff then?
Yeah, but I'm okay, where it is. I just hope that yeah, mainly to see less, cards that hidden events from the hand, and more creature abilities that affect the board.
Yeah. So in short, what would you say like your thread was about? Like what was the flaw in the current design philosophy, would you say? Like if you had to explain it real shortly, like what is the main thing?
Oh, yeah, I did go on a ramble. Let me see.
I mean, you did.
Flaw, you mean?
I could read the inclusion part here, but
Pardon me?
You did put a inclusion like at the end of your post.
Yeah.
I mean, more or less, like you don't want the game to turn into this. You don't want it to go towards Magic, right? Where things turn into more a card game where you counter stuff and you play a card game and the board isn't important. You want the board game and the board and the strategy around the board to be more important than maybe what's currently in your hand.
Yes. Yeah, that is one way to look at it, but my conclusion to how I reached to that point was simply that this is a strategy game that relies on tactics and plans, right? And it's a lot easier to plan for what's on the board, and yeah, basically I want things to be more on the board than in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, and that was one of the things that he talked about a lot, was playing out of your hand. And it's not, and some interesting posts relevant to that was it's not that playing out of your hand is too much. It's that it's so punishing. There's almost nothing you can do, even if it didn't Okay, so playing out of hand isn't like a completely negative thing. It should never happen. Like it's interesting, it's good, but what his point was, he doesn't want it to continue down the line of every deck now plays out of its hand, and the board is basically irrelevant except for -2 creatures, and then the rest of the game is, well, I did this combo first, and now you're gonna lose. I think that's what my understanding was of it, right?
There's a big discussion on the forum about that.
Yeah.
I kind of come into the realization that the most frustrating moments of my Faeria playthroughs are actually when opponents is playing out of hand, those one-shot combos, those triple haste units and stuff. This all coming out of the hand instantly.
Yeah, and it's not that that's bad. It's not that, you know, this shouldn't happen, but it should be limited. Because
very limited,
yes. And I think one of the things SnowToad was saying is that he wants to see more of a focus on the newer cards coming out to be with board interaction. Like it can only conditions that rely on the board, not just like, well, I have this and I get my trick first, so I'm going to beat you. And I think one of the things through this whole conversation about events and, well, why are they so strong? It's not that the event itself is too strong. It's that you are so severely punished by one play out of hand that there's no way to come back from it. So let's say your opponent has a combat trick and it's like, I don't even know, like double haste, unbearable words or something. Like, you can predict some of that. You can say, okay, he probably has unbearable words, so I'm going to play a little bit defensively. So then you're playing defensively, which isn't good. Like SnowToad pointed out, if you predict him having those cards, then you play defensively and you will probably lose, even if he doesn't have it. But if you play aggressively, then you get so, like, you're going to lose what you placed. And in my viewing of the game, as soon as you start losing a creature and he has a creature up on you, you're just like, it's like a huge disadvantage unless you have like Porcupine Strike Back. But
that's really, that's an interesting point. I think I never actually thought about it, but well, it takes different kind of skill to predict like what the other player might have in his hand, and to do what you want. Like, I don't know if you, but you know, some people want the game to become more of a board game or a chess or Go, or whatever you wanted to call it, that you have to predict moves in advance, but moves that are on the board. So you have to like strategize, let's say, like 4, 5, 6, 7 moves ahead, which means that the cards in your hand won't matter that much. Like they don't have like an instant effect on the board, and it's really different than, you know, just thinking what your opponent might have and playing around it, which is what most card games do these days. And I'm not sure which one is better. Like I think it takes more skill to just play, you know, whatever is on the board and strategize ahead. I think it's harder. It's like probably a higher skill cap, but I'm not sure it's good for the game. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I think it needs to be a balance. It's a mix of both, actually, both skills. You need to read your opponent's deck and play around what he could have.
I think that's what happens now. I don't think right now it's just, you know, just instant cards. Just
no, it's a mix.
It's not.
And I think that thread is about in which direction should the mix be developed.
Yes, and that's a lot of people are saying like, oh, he's saying remove all events and remove all tricks. That's not. He never said the word remove. He said further adding of cards. So to me, it's like, it's not that events are bad and they shouldn't happen. Like, they're interesting. I think the game should be balanced even. But currently, or at least until this patch, maybe, there was a big imbalance between, one of the biggest reasons why blue was so strong is because it could play out of its hand a lot of the time. It had more access to better tricks than other colors. For example, green. Green did not have access to the same amount of combat tricks and things that blue had, because blue had inherent blue tricks and then took unbearable words and then also weapon rack. So even if green copied all those excess events, it still wouldn't have a jump. It still wouldn't have, you know, a warden buff and all these different things. So, or like or haste creatures, like for one, haste is huge. Like if you gave green haste, it would be ridiculous. So blue had more access, and that higher access allowed blue to severely kill, or not severely kill, but to destroy a creature you've saved up like 2 turns for, You played it smartly, but he had haste and he had Unbearable Words and then a weapon rack. So he played out of his hand and he killed something that you've been saving for 3 turns on. And now there's no way to come back. And it was that punishment to me is what made playing out of hand so strong. Like, I don't think that the events currently are bad and the combinations should be nerfed and it shouldn't happen. I think there should be a look at how maybe certain colors are punished more than others. Like a yellow deck, if you pulled something out, like Unbearable Words, something out of yellow, okay, it's a bigger creature, but, you know, it's not that big a deal. But in green, I feel like, well, I guess yellow's a bad example, because yellow does have some pretty expensive things. I don't know. I think there should be a balance. I don't think it should be one way or the other. I think it should be a good balance. But to have that balance means the colors need to be balanced. And because the colors aren't balanced, then this is out of balance. So it's making all these things imbalanced. And
well, the colors will be balanced, you know, slowly.
If we look at a tournament, do the best players in the tournament actually play a lot of events and play out of their hand, or do they have a very board-heavy approach?
Oh,
it depends. If they play blue, then go ahead.
I think Sarasin's deck had like 12 combat tricks.
Oh shit!
That's still quite a lot.
But Caprice.
Ow.
But not to mention, on top
That's
of that,
a third
they
of
play
the
like
deck.
a creature a turn, which is, I think that the ability to play a creature a turn is really powerful. Especially if you're like, even if you're on the defensive side, if you can consistently pump out a creature, your DPS is spread out so evenly that even losing a creature isn't that big a deal to your overall power. And it's the reason why green suffers a lot. Because if green loses its Arborea, it's pretty much done. Like, there's not too much you can do after that. It's like, oh gosh, I just lost this huge creature. Whereas blue, it's like, okay, I'm going to go in on you. And yeah, I have, you know, the equivalent of 5 power, but you kill 1, and I'm down to 4. It's not like I lose 1 creature and I have nothing to do on the board. But I think also there's a lot of overgeneralization about different colors. It's not that blue only plays out of its hand and green only plays Arboreas, but like,
I wouldn't even discuss colors in terms of balance, but decks, because there are many mixed decks. How do you balance colors if people play both?
Yeah, you shouldn't balance colors.
Never balance colors. I agree. Yeah.
That's a good opinion. Oh, I mean, a good point right there in this whole balance discussion, where I feel a lot of the talk, at least coming from the devs, is about what the colors is supposed to do. And I can understand if they want, like, oh, green is supposed to be mainly about this. Like, I can see why they want themes. Like, I understand that they have
themes
lore.
are great, yeah.
Like, that's good. That's good. But when looking at the overall balance of things, as you said, like, you know, trying to balance each color individually, like, it's not possible. Because if they do that, they're only looking at the mono versus mono battles, which obviously isn't really. I mean, I would just assume that a majority of people playing are mixing at least 2 colors. A lot of the time.
I think just saying you shouldn't balance colors is another overgeneralization, because let's say you have a blue mid game and a blue early rush, which to me are kind of basically the same thing minus like 2 creatures. But anyway, you can't, like, let's say you have a blue rush that's too strong. I feel like it's a bad approach to say, well, we should balance that deck specifically, because then it hurts cards that could be used in another deck. So I feel like it's not that the colors shouldn't be balanced, it's that I almost feel like all the cards should be made in a respective color to a respective color standard. For example, this is not the way games are made, but like, okay, let's say all green colors are balanced with this specific standard. They should, generally speaking, have this ratio of power and health and be able to do generally these couple of things, and this is the core idea of green. So now all the cards are balanced to that standard. So then if green is having a power issue or it's too strong, you look at why. And I think a lot of the problem with balancing is that the understanding of why sometimes gets skipped. The power, like, for example, and blue is a good example. To me, what made blue powerful was a huge part Unbearable Words. It wasn't blue. It wasn't, you know, the color. It wasn't its creatures. It was just the fact that it had Unbearable Words, which was just a little bit strong inside of blue, but not outside of blue. If you looked at any other deck, when they play Unbearable Words, you're like, oh man, he had Unbearable Words. But then you're playing against blue, and you're like, are you kidding me? Another Unbearable Words? He just jumped and he just hasted. And so I feel like some quantifying of the reasons why there's imbalance is skipped, if that makes sense. And I think it's so hard to find the exact reason. And I'm like, you know, the math data
super
person
hard.
that's like, no, I need to know the exact reason so I can fix it. And that's almost impossible to do.
They
in a
would
game
need an
like this.
employee who's just interviewing players all the time as he's
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I like expanding on what KCIV said, and I do agree that Unbearable Words really pushed Blue over the top because, you know, it was really already strong in terms of its combat tricks and mobility, like Caprice, right? And Unbearable Words just like pushed it over the top. I do agree with that, you know, on his statement that colors should be balanced within its own archetype. For example, green should have more stompy, more efficient creatures than what yellow should have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I totally agree. I do think that they need themes and like the colors need to be their own thing. But when they're looking at the balancing of the whole game, that's the thing though with a game like this. People are gonna hate me for saying this, but you know, comparing to a MOBA instead of just saying League of Legends or maybe Dota. I mean, in my opinion, that are games, and this is one of those games where I think having like perfect balance will never ever happen. It won't happen. Like it's not possible to balance something. There will always be something that people figure out is like, oh, this is super strong right now, and that will, because there's just too many variables. My tongue can't say variables. Thank you. To just, you know, incorporate into balancing, like it's just not possible.
There's one mechanic actually, now that you brought it up. There's players figuring shit out.
Yeah.
That's strong, and then devs then look at it.
I mean, they're like, oh
Then
shit, they
devs
figured
work
something
with
out
what
we
players figure out.
didn't, and
Players kind of like hold the leash and pull the
Yep.
devs certain direction by their figuring out.
we will always be ahead. I mean, I'm not me personally. I'm too dumb, but you know, the smart players will always be ahead, being like, you know, this is what works right now, and figure things out.
You would
you
need
had a
like the
balanced team
best
with-
players hired by the devs to figure shit out.
No,
before
not
the
even
players.
that will work. Because even if you take the top 5 or 10 players that might be considered the best at the game at the current meta or whatever, and you'd be like, okay, you guys do the balancing, then all we will see is them pulling balance the way they think that balance will be, and they will just change things. So, oh, now other things are gonna be OP. You know, to me, balancing is always this circle that never ends. Like it's always this thing that you work. There is no end to balancing. Like, you know, if they're gonna release expansions and we're gonna be like, Jesus, like, you know, and it's gonna be, you know, things happening and changing. All you can hope for is that nothing becomes, you know, game breaking OP where it's like people just outright stop playing because it's just not fun. You know, that's the worst thing that could happen.
I guess the fear is, okay, so the devs have specifically said different colors have a different design behind them. For example, green is supposed to have fatty creatures and blue is supposed to have very cost efficient cards. So I think it's really, I've done this myself, like I'm calling myself out here. I think it's incredibly bad logic to say, well, blue has this and I'm comparing this blue card to this green card, so this green card should get nerfed. I think that's completely wrong, and that's almost the wrong way to go about it. You can use it as an example to show and reference, but it shouldn't be used as a reason to nerf something. For example, like, oh, well, blue has jump, so Tiki Song should be, you know, it's like the same thing. And it's like, yeah, but green has a different resource economy than blue. Green has a different design as blue. So to just say like, oh, well, they're the same, or we should compare them and balance them accordingly, I think that's really bad. Because there was some cards, thankfully these changes didn't go through, but like there were some cards people were like, oh, well, this card is just like this card and this card costs too much, and it's like, yeah, but that's in red. Red has the extra gold to pay for that. If you did that to red, it would be like a free card. Yes, they cost the same, but the colors are like different, and I really like I'm not pro segregation, but separate the colors. Like they need to stay separate when talking about balance. Like, like, because then you have blue nerfing green and green nerfing blue, and then neither color is good. And
Next up on the Kappa Council, is segregation good or bad?
No. But when talking about balance, I think that the argument should be respective to their colors, and other colors can call for imbalance in other colors or changes, but there has to be really good reasons why, besides just, well, blue has this and blues cost 4, so green should cost 4. That's like, ooh.
Leviathan is part of when they wanted blue to be big late game. It's like this. Sarasin says that in chat right now, and it's funny because it sounds like, oh, he's this, you know, this old piece of thing that is still living and breathing. Like it's part of this, you know, it's an ancient part of the old days.
The last
Like,
survivor of the ancient
The
civilization.
last of the mammoth.
Yeah, but that's why I really almost don't like Arborea. I feel like Arborea isn't it's like a standard green card because it has 3 power and 5 health. But to me, 3 power, 5 health is really not that powerful. Like, it is, but it isn't. Like, to me, Living Willow is strong. And I'm not talking about buffed Living Willow. Buffed Living Willow is insane, which is why it costs so much. But to me, what makes Living Willow so good is it's 7 HP. I mean, think about it this way. You have an Arborea. Arborea is supposed to be, like, a big card or a decently, you know, good card. But it takes, like, what? A Lunar at Night with a weapon rack and, like, one other card, Escape Grace, to kill it? Like, it seems like you can kill big creatures with, like, 2 insignificant creatures. And I really think that there's, like, this...
Yeah.
At least my understanding of it could be wrong. But, like, I feel like there's a lot of powerful cards that aren't really powerful. Like, Arborea isn't that strong against certain situations. And I honestly feel like Arborea should be 2 power, 6 health. 6 health is good. I want 6 health because that's a fatty creature and it's not too strong.
But we
2
have
power
Willow.
Is dealable. It can't like insta shot half the cards on the
field. You can't have 2 creatures so similar like Willow and Arborea. If you wanna,
why not?
why not?
they have Stainbore and Arborea. They're basically the same. They're just one's obviously better than the other, but that's besides the point. You have. I mean, you have Safeguard and Sentinel. They're both 1/4s. One has Strike Back, one doesn't, but they're basically the same.
Okay, you can have 2 creatures
like
similar.
I feel like Living Willow's like this awkward, I'm an early creature, but a powerful yellowish kind of card, but I also have health like green. It's like, no, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
This
Arborea is cheap, actually. So what you're saying that it can be beaten by 2 cheap creatures. But it's cheap. It's only 1 Faeria and 6 gold. It's not really that much.
It's a lot considering that it can die so fast. That's my opinion.
I would say it's super cost effective as a card.
Oh, it is. I agree.
3/4.
I just don't see why green needs like. I don't know. Like to me, Living Willow is green. Living Willow is green. In a forest, it's strong and it's like terrifying. But outside of a forest, it's like, so what? 2 power? Pfft, I'll take you out eventually. But I feel like Arborea is kind of like this awkward. I don't know.
It's middle of the road, powerful green card.
Yeah, and
it's like a smaller Living Willow.
It's just like too much power for its health. I don't know.
All right. So this the topic is still what? The design philosophy of the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. No, but I you know, this is the fun thing about discussing things is that we find all these branches. And KCIV talks for 80%.
Yeah. This is one of the problems I was talking to one of the devs about. Was that there isn't much correlation between how like cheap units can gang up and kill a big stompy unit, right? Like you play dragon and it dies to three like really cheap units, like 3 Rootscape Grace with like weapon rack. You know, and the devs the dev I was talking to didn't really like it. How it didn't like, you know, how like he couldn't play like Tyrian Colossus, you know, because it just gets owned. It's by cheaper units.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also one of the problems with the games is that and maybe why the game is more early game oriented, because early cheap units can just gang up on the big unit you save 2 turns, 3 turns to play.
Yeah, like why would I play a big creature if I can play 3 smaller ones that do the exact same thing, and I don't get punished if I lose one of the 3?
The disadvantage of the small creatures that you guys don't seem to be considering is that small creatures require more terrain.
And
you need
more
to
cards.
build more land, so
I just see like
it's
like
harder to organize
logically
an
you are
attack with
correct,
them at
but I
once.
think on the average of games, that's like it is a factor, but they generally have those situations already.
I'm not arguing that big creatures are better, but there is
No,
a
I know.
disadvantage to be playing small creatures.
Yeah, there
Maybe
is.
This disadvantage should be made more significant or something, but there
But
is
you
one.
can't do anything about that. Like you
False.
can't use the cards. The only thing you can do is really I don't know. I just like from what I see is that a blue mid game is still better than a green's mid game because green's mid game is kind of weak unless it gets going like.
Frenzy. If there's more frenzy in the game, then cheap creatures are shit because they can all be killed at one turn.
Yeah, we don't have much frenzy, do we?
We don't have frenzy. It's like this
yellow
thing that
rush
was forgotten.
Give green
Frenzy got nerfed pretty hard. It like disappeared from the game
more
for a while.
frenzy,
Well,
what creature on green
if
would
someone
have
plays
frenzy?
red, he pretty much owns small creatures usually, like red
Yeah,
Ace
and
and
that's the
Firefly.
Stained Boar should get frenzy.
No.
Yeah, no,
But
I
like,
think, yeah,
like
sure, why
I
not?
think that's what makes red so good. Like I understand red is a control deck, and I think some of it could be we don't understand the colors correctly. Maybe yellow and green are supposed to be mid-game decks, blue's the only rush, and red's the only control. Like it could be we're just assuming yellow and blue is rush when that's not really the case. But the way I see it is that red has access to all these things to counter specific colors. For example, like Fireflap and Radiate is extremely good against blue. It's okay against green. It's not like, you know, killing of green. So obviously there's a strength against blue there. But green is like, I'm strong against, I don't know. And I think I'm oversimplifying how bad green is because I don't think green is this bad. But it's like, blue's mid-game, if green is supposed to be the mid-game deck, if that's my understanding of green, then why is blue's mid-game almost stronger than green's mid-game? Like, that's what I don't get. It's like, well, why? Because green doesn't have the resource that blue has. Green doesn't have the cost-efficient cards it can put down 3 a turn. So then it's like, okay, so then there needs to be something in green that is like, if it reaches mid-game, green should start to win. Like, the rush failed. You didn't secure a massive advantage. Green should do good, but I feel like blue can just be like, just kidding, my rush didn't go that well. I'm just gonna make a Zerg Death Ball, and then I'll be fine. So it's just like, what?
Yeah.
The
Sarasin.
salty corner by KCIV, guys.
That's not that corner. I need a salt shaker.
Yeah. But Sarasin said you touched on a very important point here by accident, and I need to make sure which point. Which point?
If I ever have a good point, it's absolutely by accident. That's how it happens.
He said that green has no synergy. That's why it's not like. That's why it's weak. That's what Sarasin says.
Blue really strong personally in a mid game is its synergy, that how like the bigger death ball they hug each other, the stronger they are. That's why they can punch a Boreas.
But I think a lot of this is fixed with the Unbearable words change.
Maybe you're just talking about
in the right
Unbearable
direction.
words and getting really hopeful now.
Because, like, to me, if you play a good Arborea, you're going to place it in a place that can't get Zerg down by a Death Ball. The only time I really saw green getting just stomped was with Unbearable Words. It pulled something big into its Death Ball and killed it. But now that blue can't do that, I feel like it honestly fixed a lot of the problems with the blue v green. But here's the other question. Is green even supposed to do good against blue? Is this even like thing?
Is it
because
supposed
they've
to?
always said, well, green is supposed to be weak to rush. So blue is rushing, so blue should automatically defeat green. So why are we trying to balance green versus blue if green is supposed to lose to blue?
Okay, let's get back to the to the current flaw in the design philosophy. I think it was where I still want more opinions about whether the game is more, if it's more important that they think about the board game aspect of it than the card game aspect of it. Because I mean, I myself is drawn heavily upon the board game aspect. I like this strategy planning thing. Like, I can see the board. I can imagine where I put a land if there's space for it. I can imagine, like, that's the part where I have a lot of joy from the game. I also love the fact that it is a card game, though. Like, I love the mix. But obviously, you know, if they go more towards card game, then we'll end up being like, well, you know, right, you know, the best players from Magic will be the best players in Faeria because they know how to play a card game. Like, it's not that difficult to place a freaking land because all it is a resource so I can play another card from my hand, you know. I would like to see people who is like pro at board games be pro at Faeria as well, where they are really good because they're so smart at how to play a board game, right? Like, where to put pieces, like, you know, not saying someone has to be really good at chess and be really good at Faeria, but obviously they have a lot of strategy board games for us nerds out there. And it would be awesome if someone really good at that could be really good at Faeria as well, where they don't have to be, you know, a former pro Magic the Gathering player just to be in the top 50 or whatever. Opinions?
Gorham made a very interesting post as a reply to the SnowToads thread. Gorham said that in the very early version of Faeria, it was very focused on the board with very little to none instant effects and out-of-hand plays. And when the Faeria was in that... No? What do you mean?
No, I was saying no, I don't like that.
Oh, you don't like it? I thought I got the thread
I
wrong.
was agreeing with what Gorham was saying by saying, I didn't like that.
For what I remember reading the Gorham's post, he said that when Faeria was very on the board and not out of hand, it had zero comeback potential, and it was, as a result, extremely boring, because the only way to come back is to do some comeback trick, do something out of your hand to just change the fate of the battle. Otherwise, the player from the board will just win the first engagement, take the strategic points, and how do you ever come back from that? Yeah. You need some spells, you need some tricks, you need some...
You can. That's what I said. It's a different skill. Chess is a different skill than card
I
games.
would say the perfect balance then lies in combat events and plays out of hand that interact with the board game, that interact with the board, so that there is still some measure of predictability.
There should be some requirements, is what you're saying. We don't like Runic Flash. Are we agreeing on that?
Yeah.
So that's like
I think Runic Flash is okay.
Situation in order for an event to happen, then you can actually maybe see the setup coming, like the other person setting up terrain in a specific way so that she can do an event or something. Just more and more board requirements to use the spells in a specific way. Like a Falcon Dive, you can expect to get Falcon Dived when you leave your upgraded terrain. That's pretty cool. I would say that maybe Falcon Dive is not the best card ever, but if there were more cards designed in a similar way, and then I would say the interactivity with the board would make spells more predictable too. You could actually say that, okay, I left my terrain and I exposed myself to Falcon Dive. There is some measure of responsibility for me to get spelled by the Falcon Dive. But Runic Flash is just, he had it, so he played it. But the Falcon Dive, okay, I left my terrain, I could have built a mountain there or something, so to avoid it.
Like, why would I play Falcon Dive if I can play Runic? Like, Falcon has no advantage. Like, even a buffed Falcon Dive, like, why would I play that? Like, and I feel like as soon as you have a card that does what another card does, but better in all ways, then there's no reason to have that other card. So it's like, you have to keep it, like... give everything a limitation or don't. But I do think Runic Flash is okay, though. I just don't know if I like it in red, because I think red has a lot of other things it can do anyway. So I don't know. But I think Runic Flash is okay, because it's given to a specific deck and a specific color. And it's not like blue is playing Runic. As soon as blue starts playing Runic, I'm going to have some trouble. So
what do you guys think would be good ways for spells to interact with the board, actually?
I like the way Falcon Dive does it.
Falcon Dive's cool. What else could be done, actually?
What's the requirement of Falcon Dive? Because I've never played that.
It works only on units in unupgraded terrain and water.
Oh, okay.
But one quick question. Why not make defensive tricks?
Yeah,
that can neutralize combat tricks. Okay, so I'm gonna play my units here. I'm at a place that he could do some crazy trick. Instead of saying, well, that's it, I can't do anything because I don't have any combat tricks, because I'm not even trying to get into combat. Why not have defensive tricks?
I saw that on the forums. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Like, why not make a weapon rack that has like a barrier that eats up certain, like, it's like a pylon. You know, the damage gets redirected to the pylon. Why not set up a weapon rack that has like 3 health and will eat 3 points of damage? That way, if they have a combat trick, they can't, I mean,
you mean to adjacent creatures, right? Like, you mean, like, you put up something like, it works like weapon rack, and if an adjacent creatures get attacked, then this one eats. It gives like a protection.
Maybe a creature who loses 1 HP every time a spell is used around it and cancels the spell or something.
But I
like fixed effect terrain.
Go ahead.
I like, let's say you choose 2 lands, and spells can't be cast when on creatures.
Oh yeah,
or I don't know,
like less land
something
or
like
something.
that.
But
there was a post about that though.
is that it requires good placement and good board placement and good landing. These are all core things about the game that weapon rack directly affects. So if someone makes a brilliant shifting of his units to place weapon rack and does this amazing play, like that's not as salty as if someone's just like, okay, well I'm just gonna like boom, Runic Flash, or I'm just gonna like shift here, haste, shift, haste, shift, haste off one tile. It's just like, oh, come on, please. I'm pretty sure that pool's almost empty by now. Come on.
That's pool almost empty.
But like, you know what I'm saying though? Like, if a player makes it like a high skill move, like, okay, I lost. Wow, that was incredible. I had no idea to see how that was coming. Like, wow, good job. But then if it's just like out of the hand, like crazy, doesn't interact with the board, then it's just like, okay, yeah, you drew that first, so I lost.
I actually disagree with you, Casey. I think that if you can't see something coming, it's actually not skilled at all. And if you can see something coming and expect it, then it's very skillful.
Let
you
me
can
say,
see a Runic Flash coming.
Yeah,
you can say maybe he's gonna have a Runic Flash. I need to plan for that.
But
how do you plan for it? Not play your creature, like
maybe not play your specific creature that you want on the board. Play another
if you
creature.
assume he has it, he's never gonna not have it. So that's where I'm coming to the line of if you predict him to have everything, you'll do nothing.
No,
I can't place my small creatures.
If you predict him to have it, you bait it with another unit.
Yeah, I mean, and you can only have it 3 times. You can't have it like 10 times.
Yeah, can I talk about kill spells? Is that something was brought up in the thread, and I think I strongly agree with, is that kill spells should not simply just kill the unit, right? Like Runic Flash can finish off so many units right now, but I believe that like kill spells that has potential kill should be a follow-up to doing just enough damage to kill a unit, right? Like, you need something to happen before, like you need to punch the unit once or something before you can use the kill spell to finish off the unit. I think that's, pardon me?
You're comparing like Tiki Song, how Tiki Song isn't like a kill card, it's you have to do something first?
No, like Runic Flash, right? Like, I'm saying like Runic Flash and Morning Hazard, where Morning Hazard just completely kills the unit, right? Like Runic Flash does 3 damage and it can kill a lot of units, right? I think that kill spells, like I was saying, kill spells should be like follow-ups, not just I kill you, the end.
Well, what would you do?
It's a good idea though.
Like Fire Flap affects all units, so what?
I really don't like Fire Flap.
I think that's a bad card.
Like in a red structure deck, there's no penalty to playing Fire Flap.
That's true.
If used correctly, there's like nothing your opponent can do to come back from it. They're obviously not going to play it against 2 creatures, so you can't only keep 2 creatures on the board because guess what? Radiate, Protect. I have to have more creatures on the board. So it's literally like red has a counter to its weakness. It's like my weakness is a bunch of creatures, so I'm going to have all these cards that beat a bunch of creatures. It's like,
I can see like, when making a game like this, I can see like, oh, you know what? A card like Fire Flap or the blue one, what's it called? Sure, you have to be on lakes, but Typhoon. Like, I can see how that's like, that's a fun card. Like, that's a fun card. No, yeah, but listen, like, I think I can understand how it's like a fun card to design and add into the game, because it's like a fun freaking card, and it's like super fun when you play it. Like, I always laughed when I was playing it, and madly. And the thing still is though that I feel, after playing a lot in this game, that it is just pure bad design in my opinion. Just those cards, like the cards with, because when you use them, let's at least Fire Flap. I know that the Typhoon at least require you to be on lakes. It
interacts with the board. It's great, I think.
Yeah, Fire Flap in my opinion.
Typhoon.
Yeah, but Fire Flap, like that is the one card.
Fire Flap? What's bad about it?
Because, it's supposedly when you use it, you clear the board. It's I don't know.
Don't overextend, It's like playing against Wish of the Devil. It's the exact same thing. Don't take 20 Faeria if you don't have to. Don't put
the thing with Fire Flap,
two creatures on the board if you don't have to.
But red forces you to be aggressive. Red forces you to play a bunch of creatures because it has a time clock. It has Radiate and Protect. You can't put 2 creatures on the board and expect to do anything to red. Like, red's just gonna be like, hey, Fire Wisp, hey, another snake, oh, hey,
If you build your deck with only creatures with 2 health, or 1 health, then you should know.
Oh,
that,
no,
you're
no.
gonna die to
Oh,
5.
you're assuming I'm building a deck with only creatures with 2 health. No, we're talking about the fact that I'm building my deck with creatures with 5 and 7 because I'm playing green. And the fact that what happens is that Protect, Radiate, and Fire Flap and Runic Flash all just like blah, blah. You know, it's I think it's just like I think Fire Flap, as it is a card that just appears out of hand. I don't know. I dislike the card. It's my opinion. I can see how you don't agree though.
Like, I think it's just too cheap because if it hits 3 units, it's like amazingly cost efficient.
Oh yeah,
'Cause,
maybe
like,
we should
it feels
limit
like
it.
that's like what, 6 damage on 3 units. 6 damage for that cheap is like that's pretty cheap.
I can maybe
Well,
think,
Faeria,
I
is
can agree maybe that it's too cheap, maybe, okay, but I don't think it's like a bad design decision.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
it's still
wouldn't
making
say
more.
it's bad design. I just think it's but and see, this is the thing. It's not that red is OP because of this card. It's not that red, you know, absolutely is terrible. Red needs these things. I feel like
I guess
that
that's
you
true,
can
though.
design it differently that it just is better in red. Like, I feel like red just does, like, red sits there and says, come at me. Ha! Runic Flash. Oh, I splashed Morning Hazard, by the way. Morning Hazard. Okay, so now what else? Oh, you have a bunch of creatures, Fire Flap. And I'm just like,
Wait, okay,
I
one
feel
second.
like red needs to have plays, not just I play things and wait. But I
SnowToad.
think red is actually not as much as we're talking about red. I think
It's
red
okay. I'll
is
just mute
that
Casey
strong.
right here.
Let's SnowToad talk. Yes, say.
Sarasin in chat asked a really good question. Is we're talking about card designing and what makes good card designing and bad card designing, right? And why you know, I would personally consider Firefap pretty bad card designing, but it's okay to have one Firefap in the game because, you know, we need that Wrath of God effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I consider bad card designing because it completely disregards the board, right? Like, and it's huge global. It doesn't matter where you put your units on the board, even if you want to be as defensive as possible and hide your units in the corner, it will kill your unit, it will touch your unit, right? And, you know, to me personally, I consider what a good card design is whether, A, the card is interactive, right? Like, you know, the opponent can respond to the card in a certain way. And, you know, interactive in a meaningful and fun way also, that the guy getting hit by a fire flap or whatever it is, you know, is like, oh, that's cool, don't worry about it, right? You know, he has fun also. You know, I think, and also what is good card design is also whether a card gives the other player choice, you know, like, oh, should I make this choice A or should I pick choice B, right? And, you know, again, Firefat doesn't really give you much of a choice and doesn't interact with you much, or doesn't, you know, say, oh, damn, like, it doesn't make the game much funner for the other player, you know. It's good for the player playing it, but you also like, need to consider the other player receiving it because, you know, the game is a two-way thing.
I would say that Typhoon, because of its lake interactivity, is actually fun for the other player.
No, it's
The other
good.
player's
I think
like,
it's
well,
good.
shit, I stepped on the lake.
Yeah,
So
the fault
it's
is your
nice.
own. The fault in Typhoon is I put all my units on the
Yeah,
water and it will
that's
die
different.
because of that. Fire Flap is like I played a creature, tisk tisk. But I don't know. I don't think Fire Flap is bad though.
I agree with
If there was
SnowToad.
another
I
way to
agree.
accomplish the same things with Fire Flap, with a different card that is more interactive, I would totally go for that. I would totally be happy.
But what
If
would
the
Fire
current
Flap be?
Fire Flap
I mean, would that be like touching everything on a prairie, anything on a mountain? Like, how would you change it if you could?
I don't know. I agree that maybe having more than one.
Maybe I would change
Fire
it to
Flap,
something like a Thunder Surge
it's
of
not.
the scrolls so that it could actually hit all the units that connect with each other.
Oh,
Yeah, that's smart.
that's
Think about
actually
that.
really interesting.
yeah, but
Yeah, that's really
Like
smart.
chain lightning.
it's not
you're
Fire
saying?
Flap. It's a different card though.
Just
Yeah.
make every card so that if your opponent plays it out of your hand,
Yeah,
you
rename the
actually have
card
a
and change the
feeling, at least
effect, no
to a degree,
problem.
That it's kinda your fault that you didn't play around it.
I don't know.
Look,
I
I
think
think
one
that's
Fire
hard
Flap
time.
is fine. I mean, one card like Fire Flap is fine. Don't add more cards like
And
Fire
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
thinking about balance.
I think
I'm thinking
just-
about design, like the way they.
One
actually-
card like that is okay. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think
and I think it's
a big
okay in
change.
red. Like, I think red needs Fire Flap, and it's not that Fire Flap is too strong. I mean, there's been plenty of games where he played Fire Flap and I won because of it, but that wasn't because, you know, it wasn't because I did anything correct. It's that he was just bad. Like, he made a mistake and played Fire Flap, but it didn't do anything. So obviously he shouldn't have played it. He should have saved it up for something else. But I don't know. I do like the idea of making it more like Chain Lightning because Grape Shot is essentially the same thing. You hit one in the adjacent. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Greg
that's
shot
interesting.
is kind of like Thunder Surge. I mean, yeah. Quake
just
is like Firefly.
Yeah.
Quake?
Yeah, that's just the same thing. Even 2 damage still.
And then you have Withering
Oh.
Apostle, and that's pretty cheap. It's like what, 2 gold, 1 Fae for that or something?
You know what would be cool? If one of us actually summed up all the good ideas that came out of this talk.
Oh yeah,
somewhere
KCIV always
in
does
a
that.
visible place for the developers. In all that ranting and stuff, there are actually some cool things.
There are. Hopefully a
I'll
dev
probably,
looks
like,
at
come
it,
back to
and
this
hopefully
later and
a devs
summarize
look
it.
at it. Oh, see, SnowToad has no life. He can clearly do it. But
But there was
Thank
also
you,
talk in the
Snowtoad.
thread. There's some other things too in the thread. We have to reference them at least quickly.
which
So one
ones?
of the things people talked about is that the way combat works. Because in combat,
Oh yeah, that's
whoever
true.
attacks
Jesus, this whole thing. Okay.
basically, yeah, but it's
Yeah,
the
go,
devs
go.
commented on it. The Jiem
Yeah,
commented.
I want to say something too. So you go.
Okay, so basically what they're saying is like they're not questioning the way combat works, but they're looking at all the other games, and every other game has some kind of penalty for attacking. You don't just attack for free. Whereas in Faeria, only specific cards give a penalty. I'll put that one.
Scrolls?
For example, Strike Back.
Scrolls,
So there was, huh?
Scrolls doesn't have any penalty for attacking.
No,
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't, yeah.
But they're saying like in Magic, when you attack, you get attacked back. So obviously
Do you?
don't just.
Yeah, you do maybe.
Well, you
yeah,
take
yeah,
damage
hmm.
back from the creature, you know.
Oh, you do.
can
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So
But-
yeah, it's like in Soul Force. Anyone play that?
No,
No.
Not everything has to be like Magic.
No, I
Just-
agree. But what the point of this conversation was that people were getting on the train of thought is, well, now we're seeing that, you know, part of this issue, the reason why this issue is coming to light is the way combat works. You're punished so hard because there's no counter punishment. If I attack, I pretty much gain an advantage unless it has strike back. So what they're saying is adding some kind of strike back to most units kind of deal. And it wasn't a good idea because obviously it would like change the entire point of the game and change the entire balance of the game. But what was interesting is the way they were talking about implementing it. There was like 2 ideas. One of them was just like, give everything strike back. And it's like, no, that's good idea, but it would not work. But then there was also talk about something else like retaliation effect. That cards wouldn't have necessarily strike back, but they have like a retaliate kind of deal, which is basically the same as strike back, but it would work slightly differently. And then there was Jiem commented on it. He's like, I really like this train of thought. He said, I believe he said like this would be very interesting to test. This will obviously never be something we test on the beta server. It's just like, hey, everything has strike back now. Have fun. They're not going to do that. But he was saying that it was interesting trains of thought that he wanted people to further discuss. And I like that because if you added punishment to attacking, then you wouldn't have, you know, 3 small creatures killing a big creature for free. They would take something back. But you can't just give an Arborea strike back too. Like that'd be ridiculously too strong.
Can I expand on this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I do like this talk about, you know, retaliation slash strike back, right? I think it's pretty. I would like, you know, I remember seeing the first Kappa Council where you guys talked about this and whether, you know, strike back on all creatures, like if you punch it and it punch you back, be a good thing or not, and you generally disagree it's not. And I was talking to Jim about it, and you know, he's like, yeah, you know, it does degrade the game into brawling fest kind of, but then again, you need to go like, you know, calculating skills of whether it's worth it to punch a creature and how you want to, you know, like sequence your punches, you know, for maximum potential, correct? And I like one of the ideas here where, you know, to retaliate, one idea where a creature, let's say like, you know, if you gave all creatures retaliate 1, right? Only the first hit will be punched back. So, you know, you can like say, okay, if, you know, if the enemy has an Arborea, right? You can like sacrifice the Rootscape base to punch the Arborea and then like finish and then continue the punches with less, I mean, more important units, right? The units you want to keep alive. Right now, the game is kind of in a situation where if you're in a fight, it's always good to punch, right? Always punch with a unit, doesn't matter, right? And you know, I want there as an economist, right? Myself, I think, you know, I was talking about the matter of choice, right? And if there's strike back / retaliate, right? You know, it makes the attacking person think more. Is it really worth it to punch it or not? Yeah.
I don't know.
It's so hard to-
It will just cause other problems. I mean, it will just have big creatures become overpowered. I mean, what would you actually solve by doing it?
I don't think we should change the way the game works in its core. Where when I started playing this game, I came from Soulforge, a card game, a digital card game, where I guess like Magic, I don't know Magic enough to remember that, but in Soulforge, when you click attack, both. Like, you do damage, like, if you attack a card that is a 2/4, then you take, that card you're using take 2 damage, both attack, pretty much, like, you both attack, like, if you have nothing blocking, you take damage, like, it's happening on both turns. So I had that mindset going into this game, like, I remember the first time I was like, it took me some while, I was like, no, I don't want to attack yet, and then, all of a sudden he attacked me, and I was like, what? I didn't do damage back, what the fuck?
By the way, in Magic, the damage isn't permanent. If you do 3 damage to a 4, health creature, the next turn just disappears. I mean,
okay. Okay, but anyway, after at least getting accustomed to the fact that, okay, when I attack, nothing unless it said strike back on the card, right? Which is an ability. And, after getting used to it, I think that's the way to go with this game. Like, I do not ever I've read all of those different opinions where, like, oh, maybe some retaliate thing, like, the first attack, it does something back. Like, no, like, it's gonna just, the problem I see, like, okay, sure, devs, go ahead and test it privately, but I pray that they don't like it and they don't think it's good, because the fact is... No, let me just finish, because I think it's gonna be changing the whole game so much. Even the slide is like, oh, just one creature, one retaliate. Like, I think it's gonna just change the fundamentals so much. They're gonna have a whole new year, at least, ahead of them, trying to rebalance things and trying to figure out what's good and what's not. Like, it's, I don't think it's doable at this point. I think it's too late. They should have done that to begin with, if they wanted it.
Well, I want to pose a question to you. And like the reason, this is the reason why I was talking to Jim about the concept of retaliation / strike back, right? Was that we were talking about topic about how it was abysmally hard to come back from a losing game, and
it is hard to come back from losing games.
Would this strike back / retaliate help the defender, come back from the game, because you can place the unit, and next turn your opponent will obviously punch your unit, right? But at least back.
Yeah, but
I think it would make games so long that it would just be like insane.
Yeah, I think the 20 minutes won't be enough.
It would be impossible to finish games.
Yeah, but there's two things here that are interesting. One, okay, so the reason why strike back, this isn't a good idea because strike back would be too strong. Well, why? Well, because every creature, generally speaking, has around 3 health. So strike back 1 is like 30% of your health, which is a huge number. So that kind of ties into since the numbers are so small, the smallest increment of power is a huge increment of power in the game. Does this make sense?
Yep.
A strike back 1, strike back 2, one is like, and one is like, like they're huge differences.
You mean 2 is like,
That's kind of, look at Protect. Protect 1 is like, okay, that's annoying. Protect 2 is like, are you serious? Just leave. I'm going to surrender right now. Yeah. But again, so that kind of touches on the numbers thing. Well, why is this idea bad? Because all the health numbers are so small, it'd be way too effective. But here's something else interesting. So the strike back would be punching back, right? So why is that a good train of thought for combat? Well, because you're actually not just eating the blows and then losing a creature you just placed. Maybe. Okay, so retaliate is it's like an offense, right? So you get attacked, you attack back. Well, why not make a mechanic or an effect that instead of protect, because that's like really strong. I mean, you can't do protect 2 on any type of creature. Protect 2 is just like, are you kidding me? So protect 1 is kind of like, you give it to small creatures and it's now ridiculously strong. So why not add a mechanic that's like a barrier that just eats 1 damage? So it's like, envision it more like a Protoss shield. It takes 1 damage and then you're hitting true health. So it's not strike back, but it still negates basically 1 attack for free, which is kind of the point of strike back, is that you're punching. Yeah. So let's say I have a card with barrier 3. So you have to deal 3 damage before you start hitting its health. But it's not protect 3 because you're not taking damage. But now you have a reason for small creatures to attack because it takes away that barrier or the whatever shield, and then you move the big creatures in to kill it.
opinion.
That is at least more interesting than 3 scapegraces just annihilating an Aboria. That's just like really...
I have to say I like the idea though, because I don't like anything striking back. So I like that idea, and but I don't like it to be a permanent thing. I don't, because I still see the game getting very, very long to play. But I like the idea, like, and this might be bad. I don't know, like, maybe something like that on creatures you play until it's your like you know, just that 1 damage mitigate
like when
or
you
something.
play them.
Yeah, like, because I'm also thinking, like, how do they visually learn us this thing? Like, well, they could have a little glowing shield, like something that's like, oh, I just played this creature, now it has this little shield that mitigates 1 or 2 damage, or maybe remove, you know, something like it mitigates something for one strike. So if you play a creature, you know, it's at least protected a little bit for your opponent's next play, and then it's your turn, it's gone.
I really like that.
Because that is
like the problem for me with barrier is that it would only be on defensive creatures, and they wouldn't be put on like a poltergift. Like you wouldn't put barrier 3 on the poltergift. Like no, just please no. The protect one is already pretty strong. But anyway,
something
so I like
that
putting
is
it on defensive creatures. But I really like what you said is that when you place a creature, that it gets like a temporary shield.
That
because
is
then it's
super
like,
weak.
I can place this and still take a lot of damage.
Not a lot.
That's so good.
Not a lot damage, not a lot damage, but
well, like,
you know,
if you play it aggressively, it doesn't make your card too strong. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can place it badly and still get punished for it. It just might live with 1 HP, but if that's the point of your play, then it can be done. But it's not like a permanent mechanic, because then it's like, well, then I'm just gonna put barrier on like Aboria, and now this card is the best, and you can do nothing about it. So I really like that if you play it and the creature has like whatever, it has like a shield when you play. I like that.
I hope the dev hears this. I hope the dev hears this. If there's anything I would like to see that might be interesting for them to test is this, like, you play a creature, it has this magic shield that does like mitigate 1 or 2, like maybe just 1 damage, or just mitigate the first attack, and that is it. And it's gone the next turn, even if it's not attacked, it's gone the next turn, like.
So that basically encourages you to plant units in the opponent's face, even though they don't have haste.
No, it's. I guess it's more like you could do it, and because I think
actually encouraging you to play out of your hand, because then.
But think about what we were talking before, though. Like, think about what they were gonna test before, though. Like, I mean, the devs. He's saying in the chat. GM is saying in the chat. Oh, we're just like in a day or 2 from now, we're gonna test this thing where, like, each time you attack your opponent creatures, they have some sort of retaliation effect. Like, I think that is super big.
Where did this happen?
It happened in chat.
I missed it. That's pretty big.
I mean,
basically, I'm just exploring the possibilities of if such a shield was in effect, where you only get an effect when you first place it, then I would say it would encourage even more plays out of your hand, so that you can actually keep your creatures in your hand, and then place all of them in the board in your opponent's face, and even though they don't have haste, they will survive, so they will actually still win the battle.
I don't mean they have to survive. Yeah, I actually like the game as is. Like, I don't want them to go anywhere from where they have it all right now.
The barrier on placement is like the counter to haste. You haste, put 2 damage on the board that wasn't there. A barrier placed would be like the counter to haste. Like, okay, think about it. When you play a haste card, you're basically adding 2 power to the board out of your hand. So the defensive counter to haste would be barrier, because then you're adding a 2 HP temporary shield, and like, it wouldn't be on every card. It would be like an ability. Like, it'd be like a strike back. Only some cards have strike back, but you could give it to some cards. That way it's like, okay, well,
but how do you know when to play
Aboria.
the ability
okay,
if they decide when to play haste?
Okay, important note,
that's
though.
True. It'd have to come down to like decision making, but at least it would live without them playing haste.
Chat is obviously GM is saying that they want to try what I said they're going to try. They consider them explorers. They don't feel they finished exploring the core game possibilities. They're not saying they're gonna add it. When they say try, they mean privately, like not like they're gonna try it by themselves. And
I would love to try it if I get access to the test server.
That's literally why I upped my pledge. Besides this game being totally worth every penny, I was like, I want private server access.
Private server is from $50, right?
Huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
okay, good, because I'm in
so.
then. I was like,
That's 75.
Yeah, you're
so much better than me. I played so much money.
And then I'm like, you know what, 120 looks pretty good. You know, it's a yak.
I actually upped my at the last 5 minutes to 5,000, so I'm gonna push the button to release. Yeah, totally. I took a loan.
Yeah,
Like-
I called the bank.
No, I'm serious. I took a loan. I'm actually kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, I tried 150, but then I lost all my money in an
You lost all your money.
I lost all my pledge.
It was the yaks.
Sucks. Well, the accent was a mix-up with the international English test that I'm taking. I have to pay the fee twice. Ridiculous, $200.
Oh, you didn't pledge the 150?
I did, but then I didn't have it.
Oh.
Wait, so what pledge level are you on now?
Now my pledge level just didn't go through because I didn't have it. I'll just have to do it again in the PayPal shop with whatever I still have.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. I was the same though. I
was
was actually thinking they would withdraw it and hold it to begin with, and then they didn't, and I was like, I guess I can spend it. And then when it was time for, I was like, oh Jesus, I need to just make sure I have enough for the pledge.
Yeah.
I wanted to up mine, but I'm hoping for, and I've said this before, I hope the devs make an option so we can upgrade our pledges.
Yeah.
Can someone re-explain the barrier idea from KCIV? Well, no, okay, I'll re-explain it because he started it and I totally finished it. So, what the idea is that when you place a creature, that it gets a magical barrier. That's at least my vision of it. It gets a magical barrier which mitigates one attack, maybe it mitigates one damage. You know, we're not sure exactly what and exactly the amount it mitigates, but it mitigates something. So it's sort of like protected on its first turn. Like you drop it, it has a shield until it's your next turn. So you go to the opponent, it still has a shield which mitigates something. So it's a little bit protected, and then if he attacks it, the shield is gone. If he does one damage, it's gone, something like that. And then it's your turn again. If the creature was not attacked or touched, then the shield disappears when it's your next turn. Like, that is, in short, what I think would be interesting to test and try. Like, if you want to try something, try that. I feel that would make the game, I guess, a little bit more interesting. It is, like KCIV said, it is actually gonna protect you from haste, but I think
it's gonna protect you from haste.
Well,
so think about it this way: if I'm blue, I have one creature on the board. It's a swamp worm. I have 2/3, right? So I play Arborea. Well, I have haste card in my hand. Okay, so I played Arborea. So now the board has swamp worm and Arborea. It's now the swamp worm's turn. I'm gonna play Lunar Moki because it's at night. Place weapon rack, and now I have 3 damage and then 3 damage. That's a total of 6. I'm gonna kill your Arborea, right? So that haste was something I didn't predict. I probably should have because everyone knows blue has lunar. But the point is that haste is a added power to the board on your turn. The protection is an added power on your opponent's turn, or an added health. So haste is adding power to the board. Barrier would be like adding health to the board on the turn played. So if he does have a combat trick, you can at least neutralize that, so it will at least last 1 turn if played incorrectly.
But then
and if you play
the opposing player actually decides when to attack, so he'll just attack when the barrier disappears.
GM, why don't you just join us on Skype instead of being there, delayed and everything? Anyway, GM, he says that they have tried that a creature comes into play, it's indestructible, but we don't say that. It's not indestructible, it's just protected against maybe 1 damage or 1 attack. I feel it should just be protected against, I guess 1 attack is easier maybe to balance in a way, but it's really
harder. I think 1 attack would be a lot harder because you don't know whether it's getting punched by a RuneScape base or by a dragon.
Yeah, I
it's
really
a set
don't like
of...
Queen's Guard passive. It's so strong and so bad at the same time.
I just like the idea that you play a creature, it has some sort of slight protection. I just don't want it to be super big. And the GreatOldOne been very quiet. Do you have any opinion about that?
Oh man, it's such a game-changing.
It is, and they're still talking about trying things though. You can still see them trying things. So we don't
insane.
know.
I actually have to think about it a lot in order to have a solid. No, I'm serious. To have a solid opinion because.
So next week.
It makes the game so different, and it can break the game in so many ways that you actually need to think about everything before you decide to change. You know,
At
something
least,
like that.
at least it sounds good that they're gonna try things on their own first, and you know, yeah, sure, the game is in beta, but they're still selling things in there. Okay, they all disappeared.
Wait a second. Why is there a button in my face?
Button in your face?
Oh.
There's
Oh.
a button in your face.
Jiem
Yeah,
calling
so
it
sh-
out.
So Sean
Hi,
Michael,
everyone.
the dev, is with us right now. It totally fucked up the overlay, but we're too
Yeah.
lazy to fix that.
No webcam.
Jiem.
Sorry.
Nah,
Anyway.
it's okay.
Hey, Jim.
Hey.
Alright, GM, do you have anything to say to this topic?
Which one? I'm sorry, because
The one about the barriers, like, and the changing of the core game.
It's interesting that we tested it a long time ago. The game was a little different, but in the end, it was pretty much the same game. And so the issue with the barrier, well, the way it was implemented, in fact, was when a creature came into play, it was invulnerable for 1 turn. And
but that's
so
too big, I think.
That's maybe too big, yeah. And it was in this. You could not target it with anything. May it be with your creatures or spells, you could not target it at all. So the issue was you could simply block the game too easily. I mean, if you managed to build a bridge or a pass, I mean, you could simply block the game totally with a very cheap creature. And yeah, that's why we didn't keep that.
Okay, but
So
what do you
maybe a
think
shield
about
would
the
solve
the
the
way
problem.
we said it, though? What do you think about the way we said it? Like
the way you would like to have it is, well, it's invulnerable to 1 attack.
either
one?
that or a set amount of damage. Like
And on certain creatures also, not all
Okay.
creatures, you know,
So,
so you
yeah.
put in defensive creatures.
It would be barrier X, for instance.
yeah,
Yes,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so only
It
4
it
damage.
needs to be
It's
explored.
interesting,
It needs
yeah.
to be explored. It needs to be explored.
Okay, but it would be a special ability in this case, and not part of the core game. And
Right.
quite frankly, I'm looking for something in the core game, because
I wanted to be part of core game. My opinion was that every creature placed has this barrier which either mitigates 1 attack or a set amount of damage. Like, I mean, when I say either or, I mean like you need
Yeah,
to
but
explore which works the best and
that's
decide on
not
that.
okay. But that's not readable. I mean, you have to have readable rules. And for that rule to be readable, it should be. I feel what you explain should be like a third.
But think about this. Okay, think this. Like, visually, it's readable because you place a creature and you have this glowing barrier around it. Like, you would have some visual showing that, okay, you just placed this creature, now it has this barrier. And if you mouse over it, you will see that tooltip as well.
Yeah,
right?
but say this barrier is 3 damage. It prevents 3 damage. It's an arbitrary choice. And I think the idea behind what you explain is more like it should be a third. I mean, stat, like you have power, life, and you would have a third one, which would be barrier.
Oh,
Something like that. I would see it
Yeah.
more that way.
I don't
that
know.
that was my original idea, was giving creatures like a barrier ability that would have like a separate number, because like when you buff a power, it like turns green and it, you know, it says on the card this is a 2/3, but it shows like green is a 3. I was thinking along the lines of like, well, you could just have it like blue on the health side and it would say like blue 4, you know, adding 1 from barrier, and then after it took a damage it would go back to the normal number kind of deal, so it would like increment 1 on the recharge. But again, it was just you know, that's a lot of work to put in.
And,
So I would,
and the value, why more? Why would it be more 3 than 2 or 4? You know, that's you don't have that anywhere else in the gameplay. You have just one constant, which is 20 life for the orb, and you don't have anything else. And I would not find it elegant. I mean, to have it as a rule, a core game rule with a number that comes from, well.
But how will you with the tooltip explain to people in the core game something has to retaliate something, or like it attacks back whenever you attack. Like, I mean, everything doesn't have to be like something is just like in the core. When it's in the core, you don't have to tooltip show it, do you?
We would not tooltip that if creatures strike back from the core game.
No, that's what I mean with the barrier too. Like, all it needs is the visual, and if it's in the core. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, then my answer is just that, because if you choose a number like 3, well, and you put that number in the core game, I'm just not a huge fan of that.
No, I prefer it would be just one attack. Like, it doesn't matter the amount of damage. I think that's easier, because that's just more like
definitely more interesting. Yeah, but that kind of stuff really favors the blue color, because they have more creatures, more cheap creatures, and saying that the colors that have more creature is going to be the advantage is maybe not what we want.
Yeah, I have the opinion that you shouldn't change anything though, but I am fine with you guys testing things internally, but I also think that whatever you decide to do will change the core game. Like, whatever you do will probably make a color better than the others. Like, whatever, even if it's everything has to retaliate, even that I think will change how things play out. Some cards, which is hard to foresee right now, will probably be way better than others eventually. Like, that's just, I think it's gonna be a big shift in the meta. And I think it's need to be very carefully thought of. Yeah, and I like the game as it is. I actually don't think it needs
maybe the core game should actually stay as it is.
Yeah, that's why I was proposing like a weapon rack that has, barrier to adjacent or something. At
least that's a card. That's adding cards. I'm fine with adding cards. Like, but I don't like changing the way that battle and like basic things work.
If we change something as big as that rule, of course it's going to be a huge work, and we will have to rebalance a lot of cards, and we want to simply evaluate the amount of work it's going to demand, and we want to try it, and because personally I feel there is it's like the game was not meant to be played exactly like that, because it's just too sensitive to who is going to have more board control. The game is too sensitive to that, and
I think you have a
positioning.
Good
Positioning is very important in the game, but it's too much important, a little too much important. And I think that with the strike back rule, it's going to be more positioning will still be there. But it's going to be less important. And we want anyway. We went through an incredible amount of rules, and we tried a lot of variants of the game before stopping and saying, okay, this is the best rule set we could have found. Before that, we tried stuff like creature only had one stat. They had no power life. They had just stamina, we called that. We tried a version of the game where there was 3 creatures on each hexagon. Structure and no life at some point, and so many things we tried. And in the end, the more stuff you try, the better is your vision of what's good and what's not. And we just feel that we have to try it, and once we will have tried, we will know, and if we think it's possible, then we will open the test server, and maybe the test server will begin with that version of the game. But of course we will still make it so it's not certain that it's going to be that way, and everyone will be able to give his opinion on the system.
It sounds like you're. I mean, I'm a little bit nervous because it sounds like you're actually close to putting something on like the test server and have people outside the office test it as well. But because like, what would you say? Like, is it?
It's the second phase, from what I understood.
Yeah, because you tried so many rules. You tried so many rules. You came to the conclusion. You built a game for many years, and you came to the conclusion that this is the way to go. The core that we have right now, and I agree. I think you have a really good product, and the only in my opinion, thing that you should be like looking at is obviously, how can you change the game by adding, different types of cards, more cards, balancing. That's my opinion though. Because I really like the way the game plays already when we're talking about combat and stuff.
We could take that road and have a successful game, but my intuition is that it's not going to appeal that many people because I don't know, guys. Do you like playing chess? Do you?
I don't think this is that similar to chess. I like chess, but I don't think this is very similar, in my opinion. I don't think this is chess.
Yeah,
Go?
I like playing Go because Go is not like chess. Specifically, that's why I like it.
100 times harder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I love Go.
It is.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, just what I try to mean is that it's very, very hardcore, and we didn't want to target a very such a small niche. And I feel that new people coming to the game take a lot of time realizing what is important in the game, and it's too punishing and can turn people off the game too easily. And in the end, the community will suffer greatly from that. You need a lot of people to have drafts running and all that stuff around the game, and we need the perfect core game for that to.
I think adding retaliate type of mechanic to the core game is just gonna do the opposite. In my opinion, I think it adds too much. Like it just adds another thing. Like I think it's way simpler to think that okay, I attack. That's it. Unless, okay, I read strike back on the creature, but now we're talking abilities. But if you want to talk core, I attack, I do damage, that's all. Now, if you want to have retaliate and similar things, it adds this one more thing out of all of the things that I need to think about: resources, cards, what cards I have, my action points, I attack. Like, you're adding more complexity to the game, which might be good, but I still think
it's adding complexity. Whoa.
Yeah. I do think it's adding
different kind of complexity.
It might be a different type of complexity, but I think adding strike, like retaliate, if we're gonna call it that, is adding another layer. Like you're just adding another layer to the game, and I think you have a lot of layers already.
I'm not sure it's going to add one more layer. One cool thing about this change is that creature will disappear more quickly from the board. You will see more change I mean, games will be more dynamic. I'm sure of that. Yep. That games will be more dynamic.
Try it out. See what you think, though.
Attacking today is too obvious that you have to attack creatures with. If you move, you have your energy point. You move, and then what do? You attack the orb or you attack another creature. Of course, you have to attack the defending creature. You don't have to attack the orb. With the strike back change. Attacking the orb does not retaliate, so maybe you're now going to attack the orb or the structure, and today it's really obvious that attacking creature is a non-choice. It's not a non-choice, really.
Interesting point about deciding whether to attack the orb. It never even occurred to me that you can actually decide to attack the orb when creatures are standing around you.
Well,
I do like what he's saying, because he's saying he's very open to different ideas and they will test them, and that's amazing.
I'm happy with them testing it.
But like in a private server, like absolutely,
sure,
like I really like how you're saying you're gonna try something game changing, game breaking, whatever. Because
when I think about this strike back
awesome.
thing, it brings to mind what we discussed about. I think it was Cubes that proposed it, doubling every number.
Yeah. I think that needs to happen as well, if they're doing that.
And health, maybe then strike back will actually be more balanceable, because the health and attack pool will be higher, so that strike back by comparison could be still lowered. The creatures who now have one attack could then have 2 attack and double the health of everything.
Same thing with
still the same thing, but then the strike back could still be twice lower than the attack. Like 2 attack and 1 strike back would be done.
Okay, yeah. I feel also that there will be a sort of issue with. Why would you attack a creature and spend your energy, and why not rather use that energy to do something else and wait for the opponent to attack you? Because if we don't do something special, whether it's you attack or the opponent, well, it's the same. So why spending your energy on that? So maybe we will need something like the attacker gets a bonus when he's attacking, like a +1 damage, or a creature that strikes back deals half damage. That's interesting.
Half damage. I would say half damage is great. What do you think about just doubling every number to make balancing easier, so that if everything is double, it's still the same?
Well, it's just good. Well, do you realize the amount of work?
We said that in a previous show. We talked about this in a previous show. Maybe you missed that because Cubes brought that up. Like that's a big topic.
You double everything, health and damage. So
no, nothing changes. Nothing changes. You just double everything.
Nothing changes.
Nope, it's we did something like that long ago because the game was I mean the range of power was even tinier than today, and we expanded. We tried to double it, and it's a never-ending work. I mean you cannot double stuff like that, and no. Because you have overhead costs. I mean, a creature not only is power and life, it also is something that can harvest Faeria and all that. You have to take it into account to have something. Well, I just tried to say it's a lot of work. It's doable, but just a lot of work.
I think that's where the code, we do not. So I think we're saying, well, it's easy, just change the 3 to a 6.
Do you mean it's coding work or balancing work?
Balancing work. Yeah.
Balancing, but everything is doubled, so nothing changes relatively to.
That's not right. I mean, it's. Yeah, it's looking it's obvious, but it's not. It's not.
But I think it's a valid opinion when you are talking about adding retaliate, because now you're talking about adding something that changes the core and it does damage back and it changes how the game will work. Then probably thinking about is the power, health, and everything of each and every creature actually on a good number for that to work? Like that is probably why we're now talking about it again. Like, because I still think that doubling everything, we're talking everything, like you're doubling the power and health of every creature,
every spell,
and orbs.
So then you have no creature that deals 1 damage, basically.
Yeah, no damage.
Not right now, but it will make it easier for you to balance, because the problem you have right now might be that if you look at balancing a creature today, and it's a, say, 2-power creature, and you're like, oh, but changing it to 1 might be too big of a nerf, but 1.5 would have been perfect. That would have been doable if you had the double numbers. Then if it was a 4-power creatures, then changing it down to 2 would have been a better, or maybe down to 3 would have been the right nerf, but you can't do that right now because you have so low numbers.
We are lacking some granularity.
That is why doubling all the numbers gives you more space to balance things. It gives you more space to change things slightly.
We are aware of that, and maybe like we know that we are going to have to rebalance a lot of stuff if we do the strike back rule, and maybe it's going to be the right time to expand that that space.
And then of course nothing would have 1 attack. But it's still beta. Maybe in 5 months thing will get 1 attack and 3 attack and 5 attack, even though in the beginning of the change almost nothing will. It's still okay because we're still building it.
Yeah, I don't think this is something that should be done. It should be something that should be tested. Like I feel like this is like I think we're saying this is a good idea. It's like, yeah, but it really has to be tested
the private
thoroughly
test server
first.
closed.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what they need to use the
but
test
I think for strike back it's necessary, because 1 strike back would be too high on every creature, but 0.5 kinda may be okay.
Yeah.
0.5.
Yeah. So what Joyful is agreeing with is the doubling of all the numbers if you want to add strike back to every creature.
Because if the units have 1 attack and 1 strike back, then that's what you said, Jim. It's just why attack? If opponent attacks, the same thing happens.
Yeah. Yeah, we need you. I'm sure if we try the rule that simple, it's not going. We will find very fast that it's not working, and we will maybe try the, I don't know, half damage. How do we round it down or
down?
Or
always,
up?
Always down.
Always down.
1.5 is 1.
Obvious. Yeah. Yeah, that's.
But then
the
1 is 0.
I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think rounding down. I don't think it can be a flat rule.
Oh, but it has to be a flat rule, because it's gonna be the core.
Which is why you can't be done. because it can't be flat. Because then if you have something doing 0.5, it's 0. So why would you have 0.5? Like at both extremes, it doesn't work. In the middle, it works, but
I'm saying get 0.5, but then double everything so it's 1.
Yeah.
And then it's fine.
Yeah, I guess that is why adding the retaliate or strike back thing to the core game, they have to double everything and never have a creature lower than 2 in power. I mean, otherwise it will never
lower than 2 in power.
Otherwise that will never work in a good way.
Yes.
We can hear you, SnowToad, I think. Talk, SnowToad.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. We're just talking too much.
Yeah. I have a question for Jim.
Yes.
Basically, as a designer, what is your artistic vision for the game? That's something I think we as players also have to consider, is that you are designers, and while we have a lot of fascinating ideas, I think we also have to create it to your personal, the dev team's vision for the game.
Well, the vision is very old, and it evolved during years, and it's very hard to capture it today. Because you have that initial vision, and then you start working, and every day changes a little. And the most important moment.
Jim? Oh no, Jim. No. I think Jim's microphone died. When he was, he just most important moment.
Yeah.
Come on, the cliffhanger.
There.
Yeah, you're back.
No, we can hear now.
Okay, try again.
I was saying that the most important moment is when your vision is becoming the game, and you can try it for the first time, and that moment, in fact, your vision is almost destroyed, and you have to get realistic. And yeah, I'm not going to explain the vision we had initially, because it was another game totally. Maybe I talked about that somewhere, but no. Maybe the design. What's important for us in the design is make sure every choice is going to be meaningful, and you can analyze that from take the shape of the board. Compare it with the shape of the Scrolls board. In Scrolls you could place a creature on the top or at the bottom, and in fact it's the equal. Those two choices are exactly the same. So the developers, I don't know why it's well, I think it's a flaw to offer two choices to a player, and in fact they are the two same choices. And in Faeria, the map, whether you choose the Faeria from the bottom or the one on the top, the distance is not the same. And it's all that details that we paid a lot of attention. And in the end, I think it's what makes quality.
I think the board is good, though. I like the board. I like the dimension and everything of the board. I think you hit... I think it's good.
We tried a lot of different boards.
Yeah, I have seen that thread as well.
I really like what we were saying, though, is that I do think that in a lot of discussions about balance and different things, there is a disconnect between the community's idea and the dev's idea. And I think that misunderstanding or that misinformation is what causes a lot of like crazy ideas and I can't think of the word, but like not getting upset, but anyway, like frustration, because we're like, well, this is obviously the way it needs to be, but the devs are just like, no, it's not. And it's because I think a lot of people don't understand in some of the like more like specific details of the game which direction it's going, which I think is one of the things that prompted SnowToad's post, is because he didn't know if it was going to become more play out of hand or more board centric. So I think a lot of the times it comes down to a lot of like in raid call, a lot of times we're in the middle of this discussion about this change or just throwing out stupid ideas, and the end discussion is like, I guess the devs kind of have to say what they want to do before we can further this conversation. For example, like one of my questions was, did the devs want combat tricks to be accessible across the board to all colors, or did they want those combat tricks to be color specific? And with the changes to making those certain tricks double land or double color typed, it seemed that the tricks want to be centered in a color specifically and not splashable across the board. And there was argument saying, well, combat tricks should be for everyone. And then I was saying, well, I don't think that that's the direction of the game. So I think a lot of times a lot of discussions are happening because there's this what we don't know. And that's not a fault on either party. It's just sometimes the conversation just literally has to be a developer coming in and saying, no, that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to accomplish this. And then it's like, oh, okay. I had a point in there and I don't know where it went.
I guess your point was that a lot of arguments come down to what the developers want, and we could never want. So
what's the design goals? And about the combat tricks, I can say they are absolutely vital to the game, and saying that if we remove them, we remove the problem. I think it's not the right angle to look at the problem. We didn't think. Well, there are lots of things that are exclusive to a color or two, but it's true that combat tricks are everywhere but different. If you look at blue, they have the ability to move the lands. In fact, it's more in regard to the land manipulation that colors are very different. Like green is the only color to be able to spam that many forests. Blue can do a little, but yellow and red, they cannot at all. Red is the only color that can destroy lands. Blue is the only one that's able to move them around. And yellow has very few control. In fact, it's the less control-ish color is yellow. And blue, we wanted to have it a bit like the white in Magic. You know, the Winnie, and it turns out that in the current rule system of Faeria, Winnie, in fact, well, it's because when you have a quick control over the board, you simply win the game, and so in the end, the Winnie decks that in Magic could end the game in 5 or 6 turns. In Faeria, they are the decks that don't want to attack the orb, but just care about making sure that they control the board and make it impossible for their opponent to cast a creature. And that's something I hate it. And we didn't really want to have that thing so dominant in the game, and that's what we want to fix with a rule or another. It's maybe not going to be striking. Maybe after 5 games we will know, okay, it sucks and we have to find something else, and maybe we'll give a thought about the barrier ID, maybe.
What do you think about the counter combat tricks? Things that counter combat tricks, so you can actually defend against.
Can you give us any information on what Fate is?
Yeah, it's related. Fate. I'm not going to leak anything anyway, because we have.
Leak, please.
But it's fun because maybe 1 year ago we did an online test and there were fates into the game. So some players did play with that, and there was maybe like hundreds of players. So maybe you can find someone from those tests and ask them what they were.
Spill on the channel.
What?
If anyone played that test, please talk on the chat channel now.
Yeah.
Speak up. Tell us all.
Alright. Should we just try and have Jiem on the show for the next episode? And we're 40 minutes past our end.
Yeah,
this has been so good though.
I think this has been the best part of the show, actually.
But like, I just want to sum up real quick, is that maybe I'm wrong, but my understanding, because I know a lot of people reacted to SnowToad's post by putting words in his mouth, and I know that
it started out bad.
From my understanding, SnowToad wasn't calling for the removal of events and saying they shouldn't exist. My understanding was that he was saying that it should be more balanced towards the board, not necessarily removing them, but making it so if you have them, they're more interactive with the board. And I don't know if that's what he was saying. So he is that kind of what you were saying, SnowToad, or were you saying remove them?
No, I don't think complete removal is a good design philosophy. You know, I think they fill a role in the game, but I kind of feel that they're a bit too dominating, and I do want to see more, board, related stuff, because the board is cool.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that was clear, because I know a lot of people were like, this is a terrible idea, because you can't remove all the events. And I was like, that's not what he said at all.
Yeah.
Because, Just making sure we have good
the easy way to make them more balanced, of course, is to increase their casting cost. But those cards are very situational. If you compare the Unbearable Words to the Runic Flash, it's just that the Runic Flash, you're almost, you know it, you're going to deal 3 damage. With the Unbearable Words, it depends on so many parameters that its cost is almost right. And if we add 1 more gold, and I think it's going to be like that in the patch, I'm not sure, but well, it's not going to change that feeling that you have fundamentally when you can lose a big creature. Oh, you didn't expect that Unbearable Word to move your Living Willow out of his forest and then get hit by three blue creatures or something like that. It's not going to be. I don't think there is a solution in the balance, but maybe if it's plan B, if you'd like to have my opinion on that, it's plan B. If we don't find something in the core game, we will probably rethink their cost.
Oh, okay. Can I talk about that? Or are we going to wrap up?
We need to wrap up, but
okay.
Say what you want.
No, we should make good content, not focused on time.
Now say what you want,
really
SnowToad.
good.
Say what you want, SnowToad.
Just personally for me, right? When the community is talking about balance, we often talk about recosting things, right? But I kind of want to challenge community, right, to consider more out of the box changes, right? Instead of just numerical changes of how of trying to balance, but we're still keeping the status quo, right? Because changing like in cost and numbers does change, how situational, how easy it is to be played, right? But I want to see more changes, more meaningful changes, which are just more than just cost or just more than cost, changes, like how much a card should cost.
Yeah, so you would maybe like to see something in. You could play an Unbearable Word under certain conditions.
Mm-hmm.
You would like to have
something out
more...
of the box. Like I'm sure there's some smart guy out there with a plan.
It's like when we nerfed the Desert Twister and we added the condition that you can do it only if you have a creature next to the creature you want to teleport.
Yeah,
and
I like
the issue with that is that it's because of the core game is the way it is. We have to write complex cards when we just want simple effects, and that's, to me as a designer, it's indicating that there is a problem in the core game. Because well, maybe we can find something elegant in the I don't know, the Triton Wrath. What would we change? But no, there must be room in a game like this for cards that just say basic stuff. A creature gains jump until of turn dot. It's a period. I mean, it's there should be room for that. And if there is not, then the problem is more in the core game. That's the logic.
That's
behind.
very smart insight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like it.
And that's why I really like the Unbearable Words changed. I think you really it wasn't that you changed the cost or anything like that. You really hit at the core reason why people were having, well, not that this was the reason of the change, but the whole events are too strong, they're ridiculous. I think a lot of that was coming literally from Unbearable Words. It was when green was super powerful, there weren't threads of please nerf all events ever because Might and Gut's too strong. It was literally blue and Unbearable Words, I feel like. So hitting that, just adding 1 land cost, I think it really effectively touched on the event power. And I honestly believe that after this patch, a lot of these problems are just going to go away and they're going to become much better. I really feel like this patch is just
and it's
so good.
Too bad this card destroyed the metagame. It was just a very kind, simple card that didn't look like it's going to be a problem, but it did. And compared to the Caprice float, which is able to move a land, and also the creature that is on the land, we would
forest elemental.
Like
forest
Like
elemental.
forest elemental.
In a forest.
Yeah.
And bug the game.
Well, when you move a forest elemental, it gains life with the floats Caprice.
No,
it
it crashes the game.
It crashes the game. Oh.
That's why I thought you knew. I was just joking with you there.
I like that.
You like it?
Well, if you would have listened to me like 2 months ago when I said you should make Unbearable Worlds 2 mountains, none of this would happen.
But
No one
it's
listened
so
to me.
funny because everyone was so upset. They're like, "No, no, because everyone plays it. It's fine." It's like, not really.
Oh, no one even played it.
At last, the devs are doing it.
Yeah, and that's how kind of meta drives the balance. Meta shows you what things are too strong in what combinations. Like you can't know the infinite possibilities.
No.
And the tournaments do say a lot about the meta game, and I would like to see the top 8 deck lists. Are they somewhere?
They should make what they should do is just make, like, you know, when you submit your deck list, they should just make that like public, I think. But I maybe
But
that's
after the tournament, right?
I guess. Oh well, let's do it after then. You know, because running online tournaments myself, I don't see how are they preventing you from cheating in the current tournament system? Like if they don't make the deck lists public, so you as a player can check your opponent from cheating.
Yeah, actually.
Joseki has all the decks. He has all the
He
decks.
does.
Yeah, but Joseki doesn't see every game. Like he can tell if you are cheating.
No,
Can he?
people have to mail their decks to him.
Yeah, but then you change
During
it.
the games, there's no supervision if they.
There's no way to see if you're cheating or not.
Yeah, people could
Yeah,
cheat.
trust.
And it has happened in online tournaments several times before, in other games, in card games.
Mm-hmm.
So I would that's me. Like,
Once we'll have
That's-
observer mode, then we can watch the game.
yeah, I guess that's
Then it's fixed.
that's true. Maybe it is fixed then, but in other games it's been handled that you publish deck lists, and yes, it will mean that people can see your deck lists. Oh my god! And then you, as a player playing the opponent, like if you suspect your opponent, you can like instantly check, like, oh, he just played this card. Wait, was this a card that he had? And then you could like, so pretty much the players policed the decks themselves and reported whenever someone was using cards they didn't submit. But okay, anyway, this is all out of the topic.
We should
Yeah,
probably
I
wrap
think
up.
as much as we're talking about like issues, there really aren't. Like it's not that, you know, we play one game and we're confronted with these fundamental problems. It's just like you know what I'm trying to say, guys?
What are you back? Which topic are you on now?
Yeah, the game's fine, but there's always
Yeah.
gonna be things we will pick at because we're
Yeah,
losing
exactly.
half of
That's
the
what I'm
time.
saying. These aren't things that are like these will make everyone stop playing. They're just, you know, after playing for quite a few games, you start to have little niches you want to talk about. Like I hate
There's just
wizards as
this
a
funny
card.
mechanic of the brain. If when you lose 50% of your games because the game is balanced, then this 50% needs to be rationalized by the brain. So we always come up with issues.
Yeah.
This is always gonna happen.
Yeah, Joyful
So
doesn't
I wanted
play
to say
it
that
though.
because this whole show has kind of been we're talking about issues, but there really aren't. It like, you know, the game is still amazing. The game is still awesome. Like
I think it's
I
a
may not play as
heavy-
many games on live stream, but I'm always in raid call. I'm always talking about Faeria. I'm always posting about Faeria. Like I'm always doing something Faeria related. I may just not be playing as much, and
Even
that's just
pumpkins.
yes, even pumpkins. I was so shocked. Like, okay, never mind. I posted that picture just like, haha, I made a pumpkin. And then the devs are like, look, he made a pumpkin. I'm like, no, no one look at this, please, no. Oh, God. But no, it was pretty cool. I felt pretty
Drama
good after that. I was like,
queen,
oh, wow,
drama
that's pretty cool.
queen.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah, but I mean today I think talking about the fact there might be a change in the core of the game, that's big. You know, that's not just something like, oh, it's something like, obviously if they change the way the core of the game works, it's big. It's gonna be big. It's gonna totally change
like
the game.
I feel like these are only issues that are
But
dealt
we
with
don't
by-
know. It hasn't
playing.
happened yet, though. That's the thing. Like anyone watching this episode needs to realize that the talk about the changes to how the battle in core works, like pretty much, I guess half the show was talked about this, is things that the devs are discussing to, like, they're gonna look at it and, you know, try things internally, and I think that that would have happened even if they didn't say it. Like the difference here is that they've been open about, oh, we're gonna try this and see if we like it, And
it's also funny to when I read the thread, the post from SnowToad, and I see where the
but that is a good thread.
It's very very interesting because he pointed out something that's not cool about the combat tricks, and then some people come to the conclusion that maybe there is something bad about the fact that creature don't retaliate, and there is a connection between the two. The combat tricks will be a lot less strong when there will be strike back. It's certain.
Yeah.
And I see also some people are scared of that change, and I understand that absolutely, because we are a bit scared of that change because we love the game as it is, and we don't want to lose it. So it's going to be that's why it's going to be a big work to be able to not to lose each color, and what we achieved with the color definition we had. We don't want to lose that.
So what? Almost wrapping up. But SnowToad, did we appropriately give you a platform to talk about what you wanted to talk about, or did we skip over the main objective you had?
No, the main objective I have was to begin discussion.
Okay.
I wanted the community, because we're all passionate. Just listen to people like you guys talk here for 2 hours, right? It's been 2 hours. The people in chat, 50 people in chat, listening for 2 hours, right? We're a really passionate community that really wants this to happen, and I really wanted to get the discussion going, and I hope it continues, To wrap this up and to expand on what Jim said about change is that, a lot of people have great ideas, and I hope people will, be more vocal about their ideas in their hearts, and come up with it. But change will always take time, you can't make sweeping changes and have everybody shift right away. Change takes time. So for anybody who has that idea they really really want to see, and they really believe in, I just hope that they're passionate enough and they're patient enough to see the change happen slowly over time. Yeah,
it's good.
Awesome.
I think we should finish with that.
Yes.
What's it, 3 hours now?
God.
Yeah.
It's so good. By the way,
line for 10.
I need to go
thank you
pee
for
so
coming on
badly.
Skype. This was awesome. Like, you coming in and talking about stuff was just like, that was almost needed at the point of the conversation we were at. So that was awesome. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for doing this show. We're having a great time watching you all and seeing your passion that SnowToad is talking about. We feel it, and it's making us really happy about this game.
Aw, thank you.
I have to go back to work now and
Work? What
make
the
the patch. Make the fucking patch.
Oh,
okay, guys?
Is the patch coming out tonight?
Oh god, don't hold them to a deadline.
Did you say that? No.
The poor guy.
Yeah, I say tonight or tomorrow morning, maybe. Yeah. So anyway,
Okay,
it's
so
almost
now-
tomorrow now.
No, it's fine.
Man,
It's
have a great night.
Okay.
Have a great
work.
night
Yeah.
working. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Bye, bye, GM.
So,
Goodbye, guys.
bye.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. And thank you all for watching. Let's just go through everybody. Kick out GM so the overlay fixes itself. Joyful, where can they find you?
Oh, guys, thank you so much for staying around here for 3 hours. I've been watching the viewer count it just kept steady. It's crazy. As much people left as many came in. I really love how much attention the show is receiving. I had my doubts at first if the talk show format is good. Now I'm certain the talk show format is good, and
You like it? Yeah. It's been 4 episodes now.
Amazing. I think it's becoming a thing.
It is becoming a thing.
It really is. I love
Definitely.
that. I love that.
I think the popularity will
best.
grow later on, like when we see more players joining the game. Like, because now we're after the Kickstarter, right? Now actually people are having trouble finding ways into the game, right? So we're getting into this. Like, I would like to see the stats, but I think we're slightly declining in activity right now, and I think the game will pick up later.
Yeah.
That's where I think we are at the moment. I'm hoping that green light happens sooner rather than later, but.
So I guess the only other thing I have to say is just I'm gonna come back to Faeria right after I beat XCOM Impossible. So You will find me later at Twitch.tv/JoyfulRogue, still streaming Faeria after I beat the XCOM and be free of the curse of that challenge.
Awesome.
Good luck.
It has
I'm
consumed.
gonna go back and watch that eventually.
I
Can we
barely
place
take
bets on
showers
whether this
anymore.
will happen
My
or
social
not?
life is dead.
Jesus,
This is XCOM.
your social life is
3
dead.
weeks.
When's the last
I
time you
barely
watched?
sleep, guys.
If the camera was better quality, you would see blood red eyes and stuff.
Wow.
No, this is Joey. He's like, okay, so if I get up, that's 1 energy. If I sprint to the fridge, that's 2. But what if they have Alien Overwatch, so I can't make it to the fridge? Like that's
I need to get that game. Jesus Christ! Someone need to.
I will say, it's
if
really fun to
if someone
watch
watching
play.
this, I would like a gift on Steam. Sorry, I had to. I can't afford that game right now.
I'm a
way
madman.
too
I was
much.
madman about Faeria. I'm madman about XCOM, and I'm gonna come back to Faeria and still be a madman. And you can find me on Twitch.tv/JoyfulRogue.
Awesome. Alright, GreatOldOne, where do they find you?
They don't.
They don't.
No.
I'm unfindable.
Unfindable. Oh, that new English word.
I'm usually maybe. Actually, I didn't watch almost any streams this week, but usually I'm on JoyfulRogue.
In school, huh?
Yeah, university.
Okay, awesome. You can find him at the university studying. Amazing stuff. And KCIV4.
You can find me at KCIV4. I try to stream every day, but sometimes there's other people streaming, and I'm like, well, I want to watch them stream because me streaming is just weird. But hey, so I try to stream regularly, but it might not happen. You can join me for the salt because I get salty when I play. Though when did I become like this? Like,
Oh, you're the salty
association of
streamer.
salt? Like,
Oh, no, you're-
I consider myself a pretty happy and go easy guy, and then everyone's like, oh, dude, this guy rages and he's salty.
Seriously, I saw the transmission or whatever you call it
It
because
kind of looked like a transformation.
A transformation, yeah, I saw it happen before my eyes, because you're one of the
today?
very few streamers I actually came to watch, and and you showed up some point. It felt like you showed up for Faeria just after I did, and I started seeing you streaming. You were this happy player. I want to say noob, but you were pretty damn happy, and you were
playing the game,
fun.
and then it got
You were like,
serious.
this game is so amazing. Like you were like, this was your new toy, right? And after a while, you're like, there's a flaw in my toy. You know. and after you discovered that flaw, it was like eating you up, and you turned into like the evil Joker. You're like, no, like you're a villain now. I'm sorry, but you I mean, if people go back and watch your archive, I'm sorry to say it's gonna be like 2 weeks of watching, but it's it's a slow transformation where you turn into this like, he rushed me, oh you piece of fuck, like that's so fucking, oh my fuck, like. It's really funny to watch. It's entertaining. It's
I actually have memes on my stream now that cycle through about memes about how bad I am and about how salty I get.
which you made
There's some
yourself
good
though,
ones.
so it's.
So yeah, a lot of it I made myself. But I'm I can take criticism. I know when I'm an idiot. But anyway, so I stream. I apparently am very salty. I think every card is bad if it beats me. I will stand by that till the end of time. I don't care what you think. If you Falcon Dive my aquatic, Falcon Dive needs to be nerfed 100%. That's just good balancing right there. But anyway, but I try to.
It's
have
entertaining.
Fun.
It's
a good time in
entertaining.
chat. I'm sure there's a case of drinking game. That's
I think
every time you
Cubes.
make a
I think
mistake,
Cubes
take a drink
improved
or
you. I
something.
think Cubes
But anyway,
improved
so I
you.
stream and it's good. And
I think Cubes improved you though.
No, I do. Cubes is.
What? No.
We tried to do boot camp, and it was basically just Cubes going, Kaisib, what are you doing? Do not play. You played the card there. What are you doing? And then I'm just like, I want to click and go home.
Jesus Christ.
So we have a lot of fun. It's a good time.
Okay, SnowToad, where do people find you?
People don't find me.
I found you
You should start streaming
on the forums.
On the forums.
I don't stream. I'm just a regular member of the community.
Mhm.
I'm often on JoyfulRogue stream chatting around. Yeah, you can find me in game. So yeah.
Guys,
what rank
I
are
would
you?
like
What
to
rank
say,
are you? What
go
rank
to
are
the
you?
forums, click on SnowToad's name, read his posts. He writes good posts. Just go to the forum, click on his name, read every post that he created. It's good stuff.
It's really good.
Every thread he creates.
You can clearly see on his
Uses
picture that he's really smart.
Color editing and commas, like good stuff.
What?
That like wall of text and no capitalized eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the thing you're like, oh, he's not doesn't capitalize eyes?
Like I click on SnowToad's post, it has underlined, like the font changes, and you know it's like color highlight. I'm like, oh, this looks really nice. Then I look at my post, and it's just like this one paragraph of just endless run-ons, and it's like,
Oh yeah. He color codes his like.
It's really yeah. I will say that I was very happy you made this thread because a lot of times, like in the forums, you don't find what people talk about, ironically, because most of the time when people are talking about something, they discuss it and then they move on, so there's really no need for the forums. But I really liked how you addressed those issues in forum because.
Hello?
Great job on that.
Funny looking at
Let's leave.
Awesome. Because your microphone died.
That's okay.
Okay. SnowToad like such a good compliment.
Thank you all for
It was a
watching.
compliment, so.
Thank you all for watching and following this channel. I'm Scream112. This is where the Kappa Council happens, and yeah, just thank you all for following. It's been a 3-hour special tonight. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Bye bye.
Thanks, Snow. That was really good. That was 3 hours though, but that was awesome. That was really good.
Alright, thank you so much for showing up.
Thanks, Snow.
Thank you, SnowToad. I think everybody's like, okay.